Welcome, folks, to Wednesday Night Modern. We are in week 8 of our Modern League, and we are super excited to get back into the action after a week off. My name is Haviva Goodman, alongside Dominic Stryker.
What's up?
How you doing, man? Good
I'm
to
doing
see you.
great.
I am still in recovery from MagicCon, so apologies if I'm a little lower energy. I'm also doing the production today as well, so I'm sorry if live totals don't get updated super on top of things or that kind of stuff.
Time to play some catch up. Our boy Adam Weiss, the Burn Boy, Mountain in play. Goblin Guide enters sideways, but Airmon with the chance to draw their swamp.
Okay, maybe, sir?
We may have been slightly bamboozled.
Is Airmon just playing his usual
I can't
deck?
believe this.
I can't believe this debate. He said Turbo Fog.
As this Goblin Guide has now drawn Airmon not one swamp, but two swamps. But here's one of the hard parts about the creature plan versus the Yawgmoth deck is they kind of have a free blocker, but also this card is so important that it's not entirely worth throwing it under the bus sometimes.
Absolutely. I was super excited to see a Turbo Fog thing.
Me
I
too.
know,
I
like,
was so pumped.
I was like, oh, sick, Burn against Fog. That's so interesting. And no, we're just going to see a classic modern matchup here. Burn, Adam, and Airmon are both in the running for a bunch of money at the end of this league. You can see their leaderboard positions there at the top.
Yeah, we have our Adam here in number 1, Airmon in number 8. Airmon is the last on the board right now,
yes,
right?
payout to top 8, so he's on the bubble for sure.
Yeah, been fighting with Yogg literally every week of this league, right? So we are on week 8 as Adam's now rumbling into this double wolf that Airmon has. Airmon has been rocking this deck every week. Adam has been on this burn deck every week. And a part of that, is understanding your deck allows you to really get those reps while you're playing, but also pretty good decks. Yogg really being like the tippy top of the standings. And Adam out here crushing with burn, and people still won't add cards to their sideboard, and they're just going to let him keep running.
They still don't. Some people were running like Leyline of Sanctity in their sideboard. We see those every so often. Everyone, of course, everyone and their mom are playing Curse Totems in their sideboard.
Right, yeah,
though.
they're ready for Yogg. And mind you, we do have 2, 3, maybe 4 Yogg players out there on a weekly basis. It's just Adam. But you got to know, if you're trying to get to the top, you got to get through the Titan.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been, I think, in a dominant position since the beginning of our league, basically, minus like potentially
He was
the
not
first
in the lead
week.
week 1.
Yeah.
He 3-1'd week 1 to the mono black 8-rack deck, and has since then been literally throwing fireballs at everybody for 8 weeks straight.
Literally. Even last week, didn't take a week off because he was here, played.
He 2-2'd his week off.
He did 2-2 on his week off, played Big Burn with Leyline of the Guild Pack and Sign of Draco in it.
And got bit by the bug. He wants to play it again. He's like, it was so fun.
Really? Interesting. All right. So 2-2 wasn't enough to discourage him there as he crashes in with all his creatures, and the Goblin Guide trigger will reveal Inakatha's Soul Cauldron.
Now, an important part of Goblin Guide is every time it attacks, you reveal the top card, right? So you're maybe a little thrown off, like, why would Airmon use his turn and attack with these wolves? We know, and Adam knows, that an Orcish Spellmaster was on the top during earlier reveals. So this is basically 3 free blockers that were available to Airmon in the form that we can get a little shot off. As you see, he's going to shoot this Goblin Guide in hopes that if you can block with your Orc army, we can trade off for the Goblin Guide for free. Just realizing that, though it seems a little off, both players are aware this Bowmaster is here, but it might not matter anyways.
Not quite. I mean, Airmon's already down to 4 points of life. Adam's creatures are going to start going down here.
And now we are in Burn Lethal. You are at 2 points of life.
But yeah, we don't even need to go to combat. We have plenty of spells in our deck that can deal those last 2 points of damage. Airmon hoping to stabilize here. The only source of life gain in his deck would be a Shouldred.
And the Blood Artist.
The Blood Artist.
But boy, does that not matter when you're at 2, right?
Absolutely does not matter.
Because I have found when you are the Yawgmoth player, if you have a card like, say, Scavenging Ooze in your sideboard or something, sometimes that can help you by blocking a little, gaining a little. Sometimes if you have that main deck Shieldred, you're trying to put it in play as soon as you possibly can. And other times you're looking at your hand and going, well, if I do play Young Wolf, Blood Artist, I might be able just to trade off just enough to try to stabilize. But also when you're keeping a game 1 hand, Airmon kept a Wolf, a Wall of Roots, saw a Bowmaster. Those are fine cards, fine in matchups, but it's just difficult to keep a fine hand when Burn's doing its thing.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Adam's deck list here. This is his full 75 that he's running tonight. Dom, how about we look at
Oh
that
yeah,
sideboard?
I gotcha. So at the tippy top here, Adam has 3 Path to Exiles. Path to Exile in the burn deck seems a little out of place, right? Because you are, at the end of the day, looking to send 3 damage upstairs, and Path does not do that in any way. What Path does is it has basically 2 cards' names on it. Those names are Yawgmoth and Primeval Titan. This is a matchup where you are playing against Yawgmoth, so this is a Path to Exile matchup. Just enough to help you stave off maybe a turn or two to push all that burn through. Exquisite Firecraft, that has George Jabor's name on it, so that's not here. Same thing with Wear Tear. That's for if someone are bringing in those Leyline of the Sanctity or something that are real difficult for you. What I love about Wear and Tear is whatever hate they bring, you'll have unanswer, but not here. Engineered Explosive, this is usually for cleaning up rhinos or sometimes your local hammer player. Also not this game. And then Roiling Vortex kind of is and isn't for just general life game, but is always for Cascade. So I would imagine at a minimum we see 3 paths because they will answer Yogg, they can answer that one of Shieldred, or they might answer if they put the Blood Artist in play, right? Any of the problems this can answer, and maybe a Vortex, maybe 2. If you're worried about your opponent slotting in a few too many life gain spells, it might be worth it because a Vortex over a turn or 2 is basically a burn spell anyways.
I was surprised when you so immediately discounted engineered explosives, but now that I'm thinking about it, it does seem a little bit slow to me. And
Mm-hmm.
also, Yogg has that instant speed interaction where they can just use up their resources before it gets
Yeah.
blown up by
And
an EE.
they kind of want you to blow up their stuff for them, right? A lot of this like undying or it's just mana dorks. None of that are things that Adam's going to care about, and we're probably shaving some of these creatures anyways. It is very difficult to play a Goblin Guide or a Swift Spear when your opponent has Young Wolf and Wall of Roots on the other end.
Hmm.
You're typically not going to win those games, even though Adam put 3 creatures in play that game. I think it's more a testament to the fact that Adam was on the play and less a testament that he drew his creatures.
Absolutely, yeah. Burn always prefers to be in the play there. Let's take a look at Airmon's deck list as well. This was his last submitted deck list. That was over a month ago, so there might be some changes here.
But
We've had,
there's a healthy respect for burn in the sideboard.
yeah, let's take a look at that sideboard there.
So tip at the top here, we have 2 endurances. Maybe not something we're looking for because Adam's not playing a graveyard strat. But if you want a flash blocker, that could help. Magus, no thanks. Necroplasm, that's a new toy for rhinos. Rex Sage, no. Veils, no. Tears, not really. But these 2, count it 2, Weather the Storms, can be unbelievable if you just wait for 1 or 2 spells to be cast. This is gain 3 with Storm, so it could be gain 3, gain 6, gain 9. That could add up very quickly. And depending on how dangerous you want to be with your sideboarding, if you're feeling really desperate, a Chalice on 1 might help you survive. But please, if you bring in a Chalice on 1 for this matchup, shave some of your own 1-drops.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a little bit of symmetry in these deck lists, right?
You don't want to
Lots
counter
of
your own Young Wolf.
exactly, exactly. No, it has to die to get the undying trigger. So like
Yeah,
it wouldn't come back from being countered. So never mind.
Right, but if you're going to bring those in, at least like shave some halflings to do so you don't catch yourself in an awkward spot. You
Exactly.
can still cord and put a wolf into play, and that's no problemo.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that's very interesting, like, when players do try to bring in Chalice against the burn deck, is though burn plays like it has a lot of 1s, those 1s are disguised as 3s. Boros Charm and Eidolon are still 2s. It's like very much so you could sit there with a Chalice on 1, or even a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2, and still lose to the burn spells.
We've definitely seen Adam do it before. Chalice is a very common sideboard piece, and he has ways to get around it and persevere in spite of it. We'll get off into game 2 here with Adam taking down game 1. Quickly seeing a delighted halfling on Airmon's side taken down by a lightning bolt.
I was going to say, you can notice from Adam's hand, typically in a game 1 draw from burn, you would see a hand that looks like this with maybe a Swiftspear, maybe a Goblin Guide. None of them are here. This is all gas. This is all deal 3s and Eidolon of the Grey Rebel.
Eidolon seems really good here. There's a lot of small things that Airmon wants to play. Yogg is, of course, 4 drops with that one affected, but all the
basically
the
everything else.
The engine of Yogg, it all costs that. Here comes
the endurance.
Very small endurance. We'll tuck just a single card back into the deck there. But its body is pretty impressive.
Huge in this matchup. A 3/4? A 3/4 is massive against anything that burn could possibly throw at you. But also, if Adam wants to put this Eidolon into play, it can also attack through it really well too. Just Adam has no intention of wind up block to begin with, but a 3/4 applies the same type of pressure Adam's looking for, right? It's a bolt every turn.
The thing about Eidolon though is it gives a little bit of inevitability that Burn already has, right? You don't want a
Mhm.
game to go any longer than it has to against
No,
Burn.
right.
But Eidolon's like, either way, like, I'm going to kill you with this Eidolon, or you're going to
Or
try
you're
and
gonna kill
win,
you.
and you're going to kill yourself.
Yep.
So Eidolon, I think, it was out of Adam's deck for a little bit. He brought it back, and I think it's been doing a ton of work since
Yeah.
since the return.
And I think a part of the return is the prevalence of rhinos. Because if you go to Cascade, you're taking 4 damage to do so.
That hurts a lot. Here comes this Endurance crashing in for 3 points of damage, bringing Adam down to 15 to Airmon's
Oh.
11.
I think Adam's turn here might be play Eidolon. So now if you cast anything, you're going to take 4 damage.
That cast of Eidolon will trigger the first Eidolon, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
And
Adam should be a couple points lower.
the last card for Adam is Boros Charm. So basically, if Airmon deals any more points of damage to themselves through casting a spell, playing a shock, they are moments away from losing the whole game.
I'm going to remind him about the life totals real quick. Right? Or is that a trigger that like he has to remember?
Yeah, it's in the awkward spot, right? Because it's like very
Right. We don't want to play the game for them here.
I want to always be careful about playing the game for them. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, absolutely. We'll just let stuff resolve here then, play it as it lies.
As we see, it looks like Adam's hand is, I think, Boros Charm and a way to deal 3, but it might have been Skewer the Critic, so we need to be a little careful.
We also have a Horizon Land on Adam's side of the field, so there's some extra draw there that Burns sometimes pretty desperately needs. Sitting at just about lethal, you said there's 2 burn spells in his hand?
There's at least a Boros Charm and a red spell, so we are and the last one is a Lava Spike. So basically, we're just waiting for Airmon to blink so that we can fire back.
Yeah, unless I feel like Airmon, like in Yogg players in general, have to go for more combo kills against Burn, rather than the beatdown plan that they sometimes opt to lean into.
Yes. Adam drew his Path to Exile.
Ooh.
So Adam, most likely at the end of Airmon's turn, is going to try to force Airmon to take action to allow Airmon to slowly kill themselves to be able to fire off this last charm to finish the game off. Because good guy Adam. Good guy Adam.
There you go.
Good guy Adam. See,
Remembered it is going to take the damage now that we pointed out earlier from the casting the second Eidolon into the first.
So like I said, we have this path, and we can kind of start the fight to make Airmon feel like he needs to fight to put himself low enough for us to fire the last shot.
Yeah, potentially, because those Yawgmoth activations do ping you a single point of life every time you do it, so we could potentially, we're going to go for a double block here in combat on Airmon's turn. Swinging with this Endurance will get double blocked by by 2 Eidolons, excuse me. Gonna choose assign combat damage here. We'll put one of those Eidolons into the grave. Just pass it back.
Yeah, both these players very aware when there was double Eidolon. Now it seems a little more enticing to try to cast your spells, but Adam's sitting with just full lethal in hand. Just
Skewer the Critics was the draw for turn. We have 4 mana. This Boros Charm will trigger the Spectacle cost on Skewer, so that's 7 damage there.
Plus our spike. We got a full 10 if we want it.
Do we have a spike as well?
Yep, the spike's been sitting there for a little while.
Oh, dang. That is... Oh,
no
they're
rush.
all instant speed?
Except the spike.
Oh, no, wait, the Skewer.
Yeah, the path and the charm are.
Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting here. It's going to Boseiju. Airmon's going to Boseiju this Eidolon.
Yeah.
Because it is an enchantment.
I think Adam is just going to get a little bit of mana, realize that if Airmon had something, they would have had something. And it might just be time to start going for it.
Adam does play pretty patiently for a burn player, which generally helps him out. I feel like this time he's maybe playing a little too cautious.
This Grist on the stack just tells me that we're clear. We're clear for takeoff. My opponent just used 3 of their mana, and it was not on a Scavenging Ooze. It was not on a Blood Artist. It was not on a Shield Druid. I'm ready to fire.
Because I feel like even if Adam full commits and Airmon dumps out, some creatures, there isn't enough damage on board to kill him. I guess with that Eidolon in play, that would have taken him lower there. We'll plus the Grist here, flip over a young wolf into Airmon's graveyard. We're also sitting with like this uncracked Horizon Land that we've been sitting on for a little bit there.
Yeah, I think Airmon's going to feel okay, and I'm going to feel really bad in just a moment.
All right, in his end step, Adam will finally press on the gas a little bit here. Send a Boros
Yeah.
Charm up.
Airmon, my friend, thank you for playing. It's time to go blasting.
Lava Spike will be the first spell cast.
Right? Because
Skewer.
even the mana up here, as we see Airmon scooping it up, is 3 mana. That's a chord for 0. That's nothing. You have literally no cards, I think, any at all to worry about there. Know that you're clear for takeoff. Just start blasting.
All right, Adam, our number 1 seed, will take down his first match of the night. Let's head into our backup match and see what's going on there.
Oh, perfect. We're shuffling up. Let's get a good chat
Here
going.
we go. I'm going to check what game they're in. I assume 2?
They're about to start.
Do you know who won game 1?
Perfect.
George won game 1 here.
Right. On the right side, George Jabor playing blue-white control. Sure. On the left side, Michael playing blue-white taxes.
Michael, who
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not super familiar with.
Let me lean back. Let me think about this. Blue-white
Blue-white
taxes.
taxes. Thalia is legal in Modern.
Yeah.
That's a tax card.
She's gonna be here. All right. If I had to think about this, blue-white taxes, I'm going to imagine Thalia-esque cards, Stoneforge Mystic, Cryptic Coat.
All right.
Maybe Meddling Mage, maybe Lavinia. Those are very good sideboard cards when you have access to blue-white. And then we're looking at maybe a Giver of Runes, maybe a Skrelv to get kind of our mom impression, right? The Mother of Runes impressions, the 2 versions we have.
Absolutely.
But I imagine the new updated Stoneforge package has to be the way that this deck has access to a real kill.
Have you seen a lot of gameplay with Cryptic Code yet? I've seen some people sort of
You mean my
theorizing.
favorite card from Murders at Karlov, man?
I might be running it in my RCQ deck
Me
this
too.
weekend. All right. It's like the most expensive card.
In the Merfolk sideboard, I saw. I'm on to you.
Oh, no, you can't know my tech.
Sorry, don't get tweeted at.
I know. Well, I didn't know. I think.
So, George in a hollowed fountain mirror. Oh, yeah. This is one of the difficulties I've said in the past. When you come up with it in your matchup, you always want to be the player that's one step bigger than your opponent, right? If your opponent is really aggressive, you'll be a slightly bigger mid-range deck, so you can kind of keep up, but then go over the top of them. I have to imagine that the slightly smaller version of blue-white control is blue-white taxes. So in this scenario, we know George took down game 1. I do feel like the slightly bigger version when you're the blue-white control player, that using cards like Solitude can really help you play around in something like a Thalia, or I see a Giver of Runes in hand. I imagine a lot of these free spells and the one rings out of this new blue-white control, over the past few months, might be able to keep up really easily with what the taxes is trying to put out.
I think that's a good point. Control's scariest opponent is an aggro deck that just kills them before they can set up and have their spells available to them. And I think Michael is looking to be the aggressor in this matchup and is unable to put out power to the same level that a more aggro style deck would be able to do. He's going to swing in, though, with this Giver of Runes. Very aggressive play there. Usually you don't see protection creatures tapping for combat. He'll play a Thalia as his creature for turn.
And his land in play is a Volatile Fjord.
Oh, interesting. Let me grab that one.
The caves from Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
Volatile Fjord.
I believe it's kind of halfway between a Ghost Quarter and a Field of Ruin. I believe
Hold on.
it like gives
there
a
we
treasure
go.
to the nope.
Oh,
So
that's not
I've
the
said
right
the wrong
card.
fjord. Volatile Field?
Volatile Fault?
Fault sounds good.
There we
it is.
go.
Okay. Destroy target non-basic opponent control as a player searches for a basic. You make a treasure. This is free to activate because you'll get your mana back in the form of a treasure.
Interesting.
Michael, love this choice. This is cool. As Thalia is, like I scripted it, being taken down by a Solitude so that George can start holding up counter magic.
All right, life totals here. A little hard for me to see this new updated.
20 to 16. 20 for Michael. 16 for Georgie Boy.
All right, thank you much there.
And George Jabor's invitational card in our set sitting in hand. Blue held up if they're feeling dangerous. And Leyline Binding was flashed there for a second, but might need a better target than this Giver of Runes.
Sitting in a pretty good spot here. Michael's just got the one Giver. Thalia's already been taken care of, which is probably the most worrisome card for George.
Turns your counterspell into cancel.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Gross.
One of the things that I always recommend to players is recontextualize what your card means when other things are in play. Turning counterspell into cancel. Just hearing those words, you're like, oh, I get it. Right? You just had that moment like, It definitely feels a lot
It
worse.
was something that used to bother me a lot because I felt like it was almost sort of gatekeeping for
Oh
lesser
yes.
experienced players because they're like, I don't know what that card is. But with so much going on in Magic, it's good to shortcut those kinds
Hmm.
of things and have heuristics to compare to. And I find myself doing it a lot
Yes.
more as I get more experience with Magic. So,
And even just the general thought, right? Oh, this one I get to pay 2 mana for. Would I still play this card if I had to pay 3 mana for it?
hmm
But we just shortcut it. Hey, counterspell. This is cancel. Uh, I will never keep a gate. Crush them all down. Smash them.
absolutely,
As
George.
the volatile fault takes down George's Triumph, which I believe George is really only floating like one Triumph to get black mana. Use that, found their basic planes, but still we're a blue-white shell.
I was gonna
Manamo
say
in play, and there's the Narset.
we don't need a charm to cast our favorite card in the deck. We got
Hmm.
that beautiful Narset there.
And interestingly enough,
Oh, is it
George
in Japanese? I think we're pulling up the text of Narset
Yeah, this is
for
the
for
beautiful,
Michael.
the anime waifu. An important part of what George has already played this game, we've already played a Leyline Binding, and we've already exiled a Leyline Binding to
Mhm.
Solitude. And if I believe the list George is currently on, we're down to only 3 Leyline Bindings in the deck as a whole.
Oh, okay.
George doesn't even really need that Triumph anymore, anyways.
Honestly, yeah, because that's the only thing it's in there for, right?
Right?
To for domain.
And
To
for cranking up a prismatic ending. But that's fine. We can find our
sure.
breeding pool, our steam vents. We'll be fine on that front. But we don't really need a super cheap binding because barely any are the deck to begin with.
Ooh, I love this card.
Skyclave,
Skyclave Apparition. Excuse me, I couldn't figure out the second half of that word. Skyclave Apparition will
the
be the
made up word.
play, the tap out for Michael there. He does still have a treasure available. But tap out his lands to grab this Narset. Love Skyclave Apparition because when it leaves, you get something back, but it's not the card it took, which is it
Yeah,
gives you back
you
a
will get a 3/3
yeah,
back, not Narset.
not Narset. And I would hazard a guess that George would much prefer to have a Narset
Yes.
over a 3/3.
I wonder if I was a time traveler, 15 minutes from now, will the game be defined by a 3/3 spirit just attacking over and over again?
Sometimes it does. I have had that happen to me having played Skyclave Apparition in a couple different decks. Sometimes you do just get beat
Yeah.
down by that and it really sucks.
But you
But
truly don't want them getting back what you took, right? That's the trade-off.
exactly. Yeah, I'd rather, take a shouldered and then give them back a blank
You can have a
4/4.
4/4, yep.
Yeah, it's basically the same stats there.
Yeah, I used to play this when it first came out in the Court of Calling style toolbox decks, and I was like, "This is incredible."
Mhm.
I used to play Banisher Priest as
Ooh.
cards like the One Ring, just putting this pro everything, almost making Michael wish you still had the Skyclave to be able to tag this ring. But that's why I put more than one in our deck, and hopefully we can draw it up there too.
All right, back on Michael's turn here. We'll see what else he has to play with. He's got this treasure still staying off to the side, so 4 mana available, now 5 with a land for turn. Is that Demolition Field?
That's straight up Ghost Quarter. We were
That's just
saying
Ghost Quarter. All
that
right.
they have the volatile field, which is a new like kind of updated version of Ghost Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
This just is Ghost Quarter.
Straight up, checking out the Manamo there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if
And it
he.
Ghost Quartering it immediately, understanding its synergy with the One Ring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the good play there. We already have 2 white sources, so I don't think. What am I? I think Solitude is the only one with double
Right.
white in
And
George's deck.
if George had a planes, you'd be like, oh, I tried to cut them off, and they had it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe this deck's playing like 4 or 5 islands, 2, 3 planes, like just a pile of basics. Partially incentivized. Oh my goodness!
Ooh, a Sophie on the field, sort of fire and ice there. Protection from half of George's deck, probably more.
Yeah, I think just very importantly, the protection from blue and
Protection
red,
from blue and
but
red.
the removal spells are white, white, and white.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Except for maybe like a Teferi activation.
Oh, good call. Yeah, which is very much not nothing, right? If you try to put this on a card to keep it protected from
Mhm.
that bounce trigger, it could just be the turn you need to get through.
It has been a minute since I've seen a Sword of Fire and Ice. Let's get that up on the card searcher for people that are unaware of this banger of a card.
+2/+2. Pro red, pro blue. Deal damage to a player. Deal 2. Draw a card. Maybe you've played the card Fire and Ice in the same format. Well, this casts the card and you deal damage.
Oh, I get it. I see. Okay.
As the big white piece of removal here in Solitude comes down, answers the Skyclave Apparition, and gives George a 3/3. If Solitude said that every time, we would play it way more often.
Absolutely. Life totals at 22-10 here in favor of Michael, though George has the dominating board presence for sure. Just a sort of fire and ice on Michael's side after Skyclave Apparition leaves. George has a Solitude, a 3/3 Spirits, 1 Ring on 2 bird encounters, and a
Hmm.
pile of lands.
Do you know what the best answer to a ring getting way too big?
Um,
The second
the
one.
second one. Oh, sorry. In favor of
Right?
George. I thought you were you were asking how Michael was gonna respond to it.
Michael's hoping for that another Skyclave. But the issue is even if you do deal with this ring, because you see it bearing down on you, the next one's ready to
You know
go.
what card I want so badly for Michael right now is a Spirit of the Labyrinth.
Oh, players can
Just
only draw one card.
yeah, classic Legacy D&T card. That would be
Mm.
pretty darn effective against George here.
Would you still play the One Ring if you could only activate on your opponent's turn and it only drew one card?
Um, I don't think so. I don't think so. This seems significantly worse than its current form. I'm not the best at evaluating cards, I will say.
George played a Teferi Time Raveler here and is going upstairs, uh, going down on the Fire and Ice. Interesting.
For sure. It just grants the creature equipping it protection from
Yeah.
blue, but not itself, so we can bounce
Oh
the
no.
sword itself.
Teferi doing what Teferi does best, reminding a player when they go to respond that they just can't.
Is is it more than just casting spells?
No, but
Can
just
you not
casting spells.
activate stuff?
But the motion of tapping 3 blue mana had big Tashana's Tidebinder vibes,
Mm,
and Teferi may have said, no, no, not
I
today.
see. I saw him touch the activated or the colorless
Hmm.
land there, so I thought he
Yeah,
was activating
I think
that.
he had moved that off the side to use the rest, which has that sort of appeal.
Got it.
But if we do have a Tidebinder, I wish, but the Teferi has made it too late. We could have kind of locked down this ring at least.
Teferi is the best answer to a Tiebinder because the way Tiebinder works is you can't respond until after it gets activated, and
Mm-hmm.
once Teferi's on the
Yeah.
field, you're cooked.
And this is
In
kind
just
of the
about every
only
other
form.
scenario, Tidebinder is the king.
Yeah.
But specifically against
Oh.
Teferi, not so good.
George has this beautiful full art counterspell in their hand. Do you know where these came from?
I do know where they came from. I got a couple of them myself this weekend over at MagicCon Chicago in
Whoop, whoop.
lovely McCormick Place.
Michael in fact does here play a Stoneforge Mystic.
Ooh.
We got the alarm bells from the Sword of Fire and Ice being hard cast, but
Mhm.
now proof this does seem to be the kill condition and grabbing the big old Cauldron Complete here.
Yeah, classic card there for any Stoneforge deck for sure. That's the biggest
Mhm.
and baddest of them all. Of course, it gets a little tricky with removing a Stoneforge Mystic because it
Yeah.
is a lot to equip and cast.
Oh, I
Oh,
was
excuse
gonna
me, it
say,
makes a germ, so it's just a cast. Pardon.
but very importantly, it's really hard to cast Cauldron. Michael has 5 mana and a treasure. We're a land drop away from hard casting this. Because a part of what I was gonna say is George puts a hedge maze, beautiful surveil lands.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh, I need those. Do you think you'll let me borrow them for Saturday?
maybe.
Oh wait, I
Uh,
think someone already told me that they would. They would let me borrow
Perfect.
some.
A big part of why I also like Cryptic Coat in these Stoneforge decks is when
Mm-hmm.
you get to this mid game where you have like 5 mana, we could have played Stoneforge, grab Coat, cast Coat, not waiting to do the Stoneforge dance. Mind you, we know our blue-eyed opponent has tons of counter magic available,
Yeah.
but I almost would have grabbed it there just to kind of use it, try to push through. But we had the Sword of Fire and Ice to use as that bait there to hopefully try to slam this Cauldron next turn.
All right, Prismatic Ending will take care of the Stoneforge Mystic, and George will crash in with both of his creatures, bringing life totals to 13 to 10. Still in Michael's favor, but a little less in his favor than it was a moment ago. We'll bump George up with some life gain points as well from the Solitude.
Yep. That's a Giver of Runes add to the hand here.
A little too little too late for sure.
When you play a spell and your control opponent goes, "Yep," you're like, "Wow, this card.
So
This is not the
demoralizing.
card.
I
This wasn't
hate
the
it.
one."
I gotta say, there's a lot of things I don't like about playing against a control player. A lot of demoralizing aspects to it.
Right.
When you're sitting there with one card and they have a full grip, when they say, sure, you can have that spell. Oh,
Here's that Tidebinder that we kind of got just a hint of earlier on, just being thrown out there to try to start applying pressure here.
yeah, I think at this point we might need some blockers even. There's a couple of 3/3s on the board here. Tashana's Tiebinder pairs up nicely against those. Just trying to stay
Uh-oh.
afloat here.
Solitude
Oh.
number 2.
Hard cast again. We'll target the Tidebinder there. Skiver's
Oh.
just a 1/2, not much of a blocker.
If on George's turn he buys Skahir, plays Skahir, that's when you know. That's the final moment.
That's the kill condition.
We're going to lose 3 down to 6. That's fine. These Solitudes are going to gain a metric ton of life. So that moment is coming.
A metric ton being, 6.
Well, if we get this Kahira, it could be 8.
Could be 8. Could be
Could be
8.
8. Could
Could
be
could
8.
get us up to nearly what our opponent's at.
Up, big swing. Oh, what did I say about this spirit? this blue illusion.
Yeah, going
Here it
very
is.
quickly through blocks here. No blocks from the giver. 7 to 12 are the new life totals now in George's favor.
Not blocking with the giver means we've got bigger plans for it. What could those plans be? And it's big nucks, big scoops, and that's the game. We've seen the blue-white control squeeze. You can feel it coming. You can feel it coming. Card by card, Teferi in play, Ring in play, Solitude, second Solitude, and you can start to feel the game really slip away.
Absolutely. Some dominant performances by our top players in our Modern League. Speaking of, let's take a look at that leaderboard as they stand from last week. Of course, players are playing right now, so these are changing as we speak, but these are through the end of last week. Adam was your main feature for tonight, playing that burn deck at that top spot as usual. George, you just saw rising up from 4th into 3rd now.
Yeah. Poor George took a week off to compete in the RC and now needs a battle back here at the locals.
Absolutely. We found that consistent attendance is almost better than consistent performance in this league.
True.
Every loss is a point, and showing up gets you one as well. So a lot of points here being tossed around. A lot of these people are just showing up every week and playing semi decently,
But one of the real joys is like I can look at this list, right? I go, Adam, I know there's a burn player. Marty, I know that they're playing rhinos now. George, control player. Danny, Yawgmoth, Ray, Bruce, currently on domain. Alex, Luke, Brewmaster out here playing things like the 2-rack deck, out here playing
coffers,
Dicetron. We've seen Alex play Storm when they're feeling frisky. Like, awesome. Brian, one of our local big Rhinos players as they slowly transitioned off the beans.
Elder Deep Friend, I think, is his deck of choice.
He's sadly off the friend, but we're still battling.
It's in my dreams. I remember you.
Airmon, who we saw was Adam's round 1 opponent, one of our local Yogg players. You can see in this top 8 representation from 2 different Yawgmoth players.
Yes, lots of talent in this top 8 here, and lots of talent in the rest of the leaderboard as well. Honestly, this league is 12 leagues long, I should remind you. So still a lot of points up for grabs. Our players have been doing a great job with that, and they have a lot of money to be playing for. Before we head into our second round of Magic, though, let's talk about the charity event that we are running.
Oh, yeah. It's done through the Pokemon League, right?
It's done through our Pokemon League. We're raising money for it right now, though, so you can donate in chat if you so feel the desire to. We'd super appreciate it. We're raising money for the Greater Chicago Food Depository. We are working alongside another organization that we will be playing some money matches for.
Ooh.
So check us out. This is where you can find all the information for that. March 9th will be the stream for that. We'll have the NRG Pokemon team playing against some heavy hitters from around the city. So tune in for that. If you like Pokemon, of course, we go live with Pokemon streams every Thursday at 6:30 as well. So be sure to hit the follow button if you enjoy that. Or if you enjoy Magic, we're live with our Modern stream every Wednesday at 6:30. With that being said, though, we're going to head into a quick break while we pick our round 2 features. Stay tuned.
See y'all soon.
Transition. Here we go.
Hey,
welcome
everybody.
back. Hey, nailed it. First try. All right, round 2. Here we go. Modern League, week 8. We got another good one for you. A couple people trying to get up into that 8th, at minimum, spot on the leaderboard. There we got David and Sam, Rectus, Waste Not, and Hammer Time. Let's get them started. I'll be right back to get them going.
Yeah, of course. I'll chat real quickly. These players have been locked in on these lists. The same deal like we said before, a lot of our players in our local league, players up on the leaderboard, all of that, those are players who have been locked in on their lists. David has been locked in on this Rakdos Waste Not deck even before Scam fell off, even before Fury was banned. David wanted to play the Blood Crypts, but a little more fun. David found this and been really rocking it for a long time. Sam, just returning back from MagicCon Chicago, this Hammer deck's getting prettier and prettier and prettier, and there were a lot of artists at MC Chicago. The Hammers are signed now. Like there are the number of goodies is going to continue to go up, and by that I mean Plains, Ornithopter, Steel Shaper's Gift. Turn number 1 is pew.
Speaking of, Fallout gave Hammer 2 full art cards that they already just got in Commander Masters. They
Yeah.
got Steel Shaper's Gift
And Pure
and
Steel
Pure Steel
Paladin.
Paladin again.
And you can get a Pure Steel Paladin in the Ash versus Evil Dead Secret Lair as well.
Oh my
You have
gosh.
tons of options for your Paladins.
What's up with
Look at
that
this.
card?
Look at this hammer. Oh, look
Oh,
at it.
that's a nice looking one.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
real good one.
So Sam here operating on expert level, as you can see by this beautiful corduroy hat. Just this turn 1 Steel Shaper's Gift. Pick up the hammer, toss it back to your Rakdos opponent, who took turn 1 Raucous Theater, no Surveil away. So a card that they at least want against you.
Absolutely. Shouldered's Edict will be the play.
Woof.
They're going to pick Artifact, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure, Creature, whichever.
Third Ornithopter. Sam, slow down, buddy. It's okay.
It's okay. They have no power. They're
No,
so not scary.
those are freebies, as here she is, the Stoneforge Mystic.
This is the deck that really plays Stoneforge Mystic. We saw a little bit of Stoneforge in last round in that blue-white Taxes deck, which is still really interesting to me. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, perhaps. But this is the classic one in Modern right now that plays Stoneforge Mystic. Hammer time. Couple good grabs here. Usually you see a Cauldra, like if they already have the
course.
hammer in hand, sometimes they just grab another hammer. Shadow Spear is also a common grab
Yep.
as well. Just sort of depending on what we're working with here. I think if you've got the enablers, hammer is the grab because that kills quicker than a Cauldra frequently. The Cauldras can sometimes be like the safer play.
Yeah. Well, what's hard about Cauldra is you're playing against a red-black deck. This Stoneforge is not surviving. If you show the card Cauldra, you will not be activating to put Cauldra into play. Sam took a while, took a tank. You know, the Steel Shaper's Gift that found the first one, but the second
Cauldra will be the grab here.
Is indeed this Cauldra, and we tanked for a while. So that either means we have a handful of hammers, we're not sure we're even going to get to hammers, or just hoping and praying that we can slam this Cauldra next turn.
Sam's second land for turn was an Urza Saga, which can grab Shadow Spear and Colossus Hammer, so that might have factored into his decision making a little bit there. Always good to know. Back on David's turn now. Life Total still sitting at an even 20-20. No fetching from either of these players as of yet. No shocking from Shocklands. See what David goes to play here. It'll just be a slow little Ragavan.
Yeah. This Ragavan may have looked and saw 3 Ornithopters on the other side and realized nothing's going to happen.
I mean, against Ornithopters, it's fine. You can turn that thing sideways, but a Stoneforge does have that single point of
chonk chonk
power on it. Activation here. We'll bring out this Cauldra.
I think we're looking around for who's going to be the germ this time. Very importantly, I was also going to talk about if, let's say, an answer did show up for this Stoneforge. If we had made a Consort token with this Urza Saga, it would have been huge already. These 2 Ornithopters really pushing the artifact count in the early game.
Absolutely. Very strong point there. The germ will crash in from Cauldra. In response, David will fetch here.
Oh, if we have another Shieldred's Edict, we can say Shieldred's Edict, name creature, or name token creature, and that will pop this germ for us.
Ooh, yeah, there are a few different modes on Shieldred's Edict.
Yep, it is creature, token, or planeswalker.
Let me get this up here for people.
Time
there
for a
we
little.
Go.
Instead, we're going to go with some Bowmaster action.
Oh, interesting. Are we just going to chuck something under the Cauldra?
Now, I forget all the keywords on Cauldra, but isn't one of them trample?
Let's pull it up. Cauldra complete. Here you are.
It's got Exile Touch. It's got...
Does have Trample.
Trample, Indestructible, First Strike, Haste. So we can shove this and absorb a little bit. At least, play our spell, gain a little bit of our life, and send it right on back.
I'd like to see David get some sort of engine going here. I'd like to see a Waste not come down.
Shieldred.
Shieldred would be a pretty good stabilizer. Might make Sam a little bit more nervous about... No, Cauldre's the best attacker.
It's so big. Now that it is in play, it is going to dominate the pace of this game.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think we need a way to get rid of this germ token, bounce the Cauldron. No, there's not really a lot of bounce in black-red.
Yeah, I wish I could ask Sam. I wonder if a part of the reason we did go for this Cauldra is we saw that David had already fired off that Shieldred's Edict. So if you're unsure what answers they could have to Cauldra, and you see an answer had gone away so quickly, we can slam this Shieldred here from David, but this Cauldra, like you said, is already the dominant force in play.
All right. In David's combat step here, he'll swing with this Ragavan to clean up one of the second Ornithopter on Sam's side. Back to Sam's turn here. We'll think for a second on resolving this third Urza Saga
Oh.
chapter.
We're gonna use this saga. Looks like we're just gonna search with it. But our draw for the turn was the Fastland Seachrome Coast, and because our saga sacks itself, it's gonna be an untapped land.
Sick, love that. A little bit of interaction there. Looks like he will just float the mana. I would have loved to see these huge construct tokens, to be honest.
But I think
But
we're gonna get a spear and put a spear on this germ. And
sure, give it trample,
and
double
lifelink.
trample.
We're just gonna rumble in for
Lifelink is
6.
definitely the more relevant keyword there. Yeah.
I love a good trample.
Yeah, yeah. There should be some sort of interaction. You should get a bonus.
Yeah, I'd like more bonuses with my trample.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'd like peanut butter, chocolate, and ice cream.
We'll get this very nice looking at Shadow Spear here. Shuffle up after resolving this Urza Saga. This goes right onto the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And that Seachrome Coast you saw will be the land for turn there.
Expertly played on that timing of drawing Seachrome off the top.
Expertly. Very nicely done, sir.
Oh, yeah. Big germ now. 6/6, rumbling through both your blockers with lifelink.
David, don't do it. I think he's
We're
talking
warning about the
himself
death touch.
through it. Yeah. That no, you don't want to block. Don't want to block the Cauldron. Just take it. Just take it. Hope no. Oh.
It's okay, right?
Just she does have a big booty. She do block a lot.
She do be blocking. That's one of the hardest parts about Shieldred, is on top of just its general text box, it's perfectly statted as a 4/5 to be an incredible blocker throughout the modern, pioneer, standard format. It is just big enough to be unbelievably relevant as a 4/5. As a 4/4,
that's why you blocked with the first shoulder, because you had a second one.
getting with the monkey a second time.
We'll just chuck another Ornithopter underneath it, even though we had this Stoneforge available.
Dung, there she is. Bow, 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 bow. It's Cryptic Coat time.
New card out of Murders at Karlov Manor. Limited banger, also constructed banger? Question
Yeah.
mark? Let's get this up on the screen for folks unaware, uninitiated here. There she is. Can you talk about this card, Dom?
I am in love with Cryptic Coat. The coat that Sam is playing is my coat. This token is a lovely Ward 2 2/2 morph token.
Yeah.
And Cryptic Coat. ETB, in this case, it is now the word cloak. If you remember Manifest from the morph days, it is the same thing. It's the top card of your deck goes face down, but now it also has Ward 2. Then you can attach this Cryptic Coat to it, which gives it +1/+0, unblockable, and then for 1 and a U, you can return the coat to your hand, but the 2/2 stays there. So this can be an engine all on its own to just keep slowly making 2/2s, while also giving you a 3-power Ward 2 unblockable creature. I may or may not have called this card True Name Nemesis. I may or may still definitely believe that. But I also think it is a single card that you can put in your hammer deck to give you such a long, prosperous mid-game that has not existed outside of activating your Urza Sagas in this deck. But now you could go like Saga, Construct, play this coat, and just like have an actual mid-range game available in a single card.
Can't be blocked is really huge. It solves a problem that Hammer has sometimes where they just can't get through with stuff. You know, like if you don't have an Ink Moth Nexus to fly over stuff. This can't be blocked, just has that on there. So it doesn't matter what your opponent's got on the other side of the field.
Sam and I have been talking about this too. Very importantly, Cryptic Coat does not have an equip cost. Nowhere on this equipment is pay to equip this card. What does happen is your Pure Steel Paladin gives the card the ability equip 0. So it adds equip 0 onto these coats. Same thing with Sigarda's Aid. Sigarda's Aid auto-equips. So even though this doesn't have an equip cost, this deck is already fully built with ways to put this coat on the other highly important creatures.
Interesting. All right. I think Sam might have won this game even without that card, but it definitely hastened.
They made sure we were winning that game.
Hastened David's demise there as we head into sideboards here. Sam taking down game 1. Let's take a look at some deck list. Who do you want to look at first?
David.
David? All right, here we
The
are.
one you have up on screen. All right, beautiful. Oh, I love the program we use pulls up the most recent. See these MH3 Bloodstain Myers.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Did you check out those spoilers?
Oh, I did. As we'll take a little peeksy poo here at this sideboard. Very importantly, we saw in the last moments there, that last turn out of Sam, that we were playing blue-white hammer.
Hmm.
The reason I bring this up is moon effects get a lot better against hammer the second they're splashing a color. The fact that we now have like 5 fetches, some Hollowed Fountain, some Seachrome Coast, like all these lands in our deck, plus Urza Saga, the stock of a Magus of the Moon goes up, and especially when I'm a Ragavan deck on the play. The fact that I could maybe power out this like turn 2 Magus and make it really difficult for the hammer opponent means it might be at least worthwhile in the game that you're on the play to try and bring this card in. Kolagon's command? Woo! One of the modes on command is destroy target artifact. On top of its deal 2 mode, on top of get a creature back, on top of you discard a card. This is incidental artifact hate on a card that we kind of has been main deckable in and out of these red-black decks.
Hmm.
That is going to be incredible now we're playing against literal hammer.
Absolutely.
Damnation?
Damnation's an interesting one. It does cost 4 mana.
Yeah, but it gets them all dead. The constructs,
Yeah.
whatever they got sitting around, if they're trying to coach shenanigans. This might be one of those matchups where you realize, again, we're kind of on the play. We might have a little bit extra beat, maybe another half a turn,
I think
that we might be
so.
able to get to Damnation mana. Chalice of the Void, Chalice on 1 might really lock down a hammer opponent when we only have Ragavan, DRC, a couple of pushes, and thoughts. Okay, we got a lot of ones.
We got a lot to work with here. There's definitely a lot of different tools we
Turning
could bring
Inquiry.
in and take out. There's this Reforge the Soul in the main that I need to point out because that is super interesting.
Real
These
gamer
underworld breaches. Lots of fun stuff to work with for sure. So a lot of different game plans that David might opt to
Whoa.
go with here. I just got to transition back real quick while
Yeah.
they're sideboarding here from Sam. Just this little note for us.
Hey,
Sorry.
shout out to the folks. That's fine. I can talk about David deck list all day.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is David's full deck list. Do we
Mhm.
want to look at Sam's old deck list and compare notes? Because
Yeah, sure, that's fine. A very important part that I noticed from David's deck, real quick, is we're playing the card Underworld Breach,
mhm.
but not Lightning Bolt. We don't have just the like, oops, I win package of put this in play, bolt you 3 times.
Yeah.
And which is specifically kind of a poster child of I'm playing a red deck in Modern, I'm playing Bolt. So very importantly here for Sam's deck, a lot of the mana base has been modified to have the blue-white fetches and your blue lands and your Seachrome Coast. Not the biggest change there, and then there is a Cryptic Coat floating around in the mana base. But the cards on the sideboard, I know one of the important parts is I believe where these 2 helping hands are, we're
Mhm.
trying out Spell Pierce. Now I have access to blue mana, just like get even more piece of interaction.
That was in my blue-white hammer list from, several months
Yeah.
ago.
And that was one of the cards I was thinking when I was saying, oh, David should bring in Damnation. Then I'm like, Sam should definitely bring in Spell Pierce.
Absolutely.
Dreath Magistrate, these are for the Cascade matchups. Solitude is for stuff that's a little hard to deal with. We might bring it in here because of how big Shield Dread is, just
Mhm.
as a big card. But other than that, these Pith Needles, these Curse Totems, these are for different people playing different games.
Absolutely. We'll head back into the action here, though, and check
Oh.
out our players. David will be on the play for game 2 as Sam took down game 1.
Sam also has the card Forge Anew in their deck.
Mhm.
Forge Anew, I believe, is also a card that lets you equip without playing its an equip cost. Another card that lets Cryptic Coat equip without Cryptic Coat ever having an equip cost.
Yeah, the thing with Cryptic Coat is it's intended to be cast and recast because it
Mhm.
has that bounce to your hand thing.
Yeah.
So it intends to create those ward creatures. A mysterious creature, I believe, is the full name of the token.
Yes, the tokens technically don't have names, but are flavorfully
Right. Yes, because that
called-
is also a thing in
Mhm.
MKM Limited
Yes.
is named creatures.
Yes,
Yes, but that is
because the same way a morph isn't
Can I
actually
call it
called
a
morph.
title? Or I don't know. That's worse. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's weird, right? It has a name, but in the true rules of the game, it does not have a name.
Mm-hmm.
Morphs are not called creature type morph.
Yeah.
Mysterious creatures aren't creature type mysterious creature.
They just have the innate abilities of
Yes.
ward and can't be blocked. Or no, excuse me. Can't be blocked is from the Cryptic
Yep,
Coat.
that's from the
It's just
coat,
the ward.
But they have the inherent ward to
Mm-hmm.
no matter what.
Yes, very good there. Getting some mulligans in here. Sam going down to 6. Let's look while they're shuffling up here. If you love to play Magic but Modern isn't quite your thing, we are doing an RCQ this very Saturday. I will be there. I think Dom's going to be there too, potentially.
Yeah, I'm getting cardboard together. We'll find out.
We're going to figure it out if we're going to be able to make it there. We've got tons of prizes to give away, including, of course, that invite to RC Dallas. So come on down this Saturday to Nerd Rage Gaming. We're located in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, for those unaware. And we'd love to have you. We have plenty of space for any players that would like to show up. So come on down, win some promos, play against me, play against
Hmm.
Dom. I think I'm gonna crush it. I've never played. I think I've played one
Hmm.
RCQ total and didn't do too well. But I think
Oh.
I no. Oh,
so
why'd you
speak.
have to bring that up,
So
Dakota? I
so
did play a store
speaking.
championship with an illegal deck.
That's
That
okay.
wasn't an RCQ. That was different.
Speaking of crushing it, our game one winner Sam mulligan down to 6. David snapped off the turn one Thoughtseize. What you love to see when your opponent mulligans. Saw Sam with 4 lands, 2 spells, stripped away
Oh.
one of those spells, and now is taking the second one.
All right, yeah. Esper Sentinel and March of Otherworldly Light leave Sam with just lands in hand now, and this Rakdos deck is exactly where it wants to
Yeah.
be.
When I have the card Thoughtseize in my deck, every time my opponent says, I'll mulligan, I'm like, yes,
Yes.
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 I know that I'm a monster, but it doesn't matter to me. We'll high five. We can fist bump. We can hang out. We can get dinner. But when we're in the arena, mulligan, I'm Thoughtseize the heck out of you, my friend.
In the arena of intellectual combat.
Yeah. In the arena of intellectual combat, I'm just trying to put a tracks into play. So good luck out there, buddies.
For sure, for sure. She's pretty good, I've heard.
All format
I've
all star.
seen.
All format all star. Sam using this chance to fetch up this Hallowed Fountain. One of our cards in hand is Urza Saga, so we can at least take game actions and get a little bit of that mid-range plan going while we need to draw some spells up. What's very important is what David does with this time of reprieve. Are we going to slam a Waste Knot? Can we get a Shieldred? Can we start getting some Bowmaster beats? We got to use this time while it's given to us.
I'd say with 3 mana, things I can think of are probably going to be a combination of a 1-drop and a 2-drop over a single 3-drop.
How about a Waste Knot and Burning Inquiry?
Ooh, that seems like the best combination. I was gonna say Waste Not Ragavan like setup, but no, that
Yeah.
Burning Inquiry is a
David's-
much better one.
David's turn 3 punch is probably those two. The question is, this tap Blood Crypt signals, not now, not today.
Interesting. Just a pass back. Hints at maybe some instant speed interaction there. I just see this Blood Crypt in the top of David's hand, but we did see some Sheoldred's Edict in game 1 there. I see a Damnation flip through there.
A good answer to this Saga being Sam's kind of action.
Oh man, Sam reacting to something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
You feel it when you mulligan and your opponent takes both your relevant spells. The top of your deck is so important. And Hammer's top decks already aren't that great.
Back on David's turn here. Sam didn't play anything, so
Construct didn't come in.
Construct incoming. It means there isn't a Bowmaster in David's hand because he would have flashed that in, I
Yes.
assume, on Sam's end step.
The tapped land on 3, pass back with 2, made me really think we had it. But we're just slamming this turn 4 Shieldred. Put a card with text that can affect this game into play.
Put a really good card with text. A very expensive card with text.
Keep going.
Speaking about format all-star, all format all-star. Shouldered is one, in fact, as well.
Atraxa and Shieldred played in, I believe, literally every format. As we make this second construct and we're going hunting. Now, mind you, if we grab Shadow Spear, we're still not big enough to fight through this Shieldred. So we're going to grab this hammer, but it is so far from hammer time.
Either way, it grows both of our constructs here. They're now 3/3s, which can trade. You can double block to trade with a Shouldred, potentially, if David opts to swing in with that, which he might.
If David wants to let you.
Exactly. I think he might be able to deal with these guys before then, though. I'm waiting to see this Rakdos Waste Not deck really pop off here. I feel like it hasn't done anything too bombastic. It's played some good cards. It's doing the mid-range thing, right? I'd like to see it really do a little bit more, I think. Remembering the shoulder trigger there, we'll take Sam down to 17 to David's 13.
Yep, and then up to 15 from our own Shieldred. Really just swapping life totals all around. The one thing Shieldred does well. And we drew a Magus of the Moon.
That's a good one.
And Sam has an Inkmoth in hand.
It just affects the one there, but the Inkmoth is the real killer for sure.
But we don't know about it yet. And we don't get to use it as kind of a destroy target Urza Saga mode.
We'll know about it now. Thoughtseize.
The third Thoughtseize just ripping Sam's hand apart.
Only legal target there will be a Pure Steel Paladin, showing that he has 2 lands. I don't know if David looked closely enough to notice that it was an Inkmoth Nexus, which is pretty valuable information.
We have a March, the Black March of Wretched Sorrows. X equals 2. Getting this Giver of Ruins off the battlefield before I can turn these into Mondo blockers for this Shieldred.
Life totals 15 to 13 now in David's favor, taking another 2 on Sam's draw. Back on his turn here
There's that
after the
stinky
shouldered
inky
attack.
and the Sigarda's aid. Okay, we're getting in there. This
We're
Shieldred,
getting
Shieldred gains 2. Shield doesn't gain 6, right?
mm-mm. And this
And
hammer's on the field already, which is not where you want it to be when you have the Sigarda's aid out. You sort of did it reverse order there. Of course, you couldn't prevent that.
very important, Sam uses mana to activate his Ink Moth to make it into a creature, and that attack was fully for 8 because these constructs were 4/4 at the time of combat.
Nicely done there. Every point counts. David does not have any fear. Just gonna turn this shouldered sideways. I see. That would explain it pretty well there.
It's time for Stinky Inky to shine. We are this
Stinky Inky.
Oh no, because this little Ink Moth Nexus that could. David is already ready to throw their lands in the trash can. They're like, "Am I dead? Am I dead? Am I dead?" Oh, is it Esper Sentinel? It's Esper Sentinel.
Okay.
Poking for 1.
All right.
Poking for 1. Not even poking in for 1.
Not even gonna. Back to David's turn here.
Now this Magus of the Moon's gonna just turn our
Destroy us.
Ink Moth into blank cardboard.
Come on, David. There's no way you don't play the Magus. Come on. What's happening? No, he just passed.
So we must have a kill spell, right?
Okay. I thought he passed. Oh, I got so scared.
That was the big hand of a man passing a turn.
Indeed.
The wave on, like, go ahead, my friend. Oh.
Sam not gonna fetch in response to the Magus. Almost did, and then took it back. A second Esper Sentinel will be the land for turn
I wonder if
card for turn there.
Sam is not cracking our mana because we kind of want to draw lands because we kind of want to equip this hammer onto something.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I see that. Sam's fully hellbent here. David has 3 cards in hand. Really hedging his bets here. Play it? Sure.
The twins are here.
Sure, my creatures are bigger than yours at this point.
Yeah, the 2/2s are a little bit bigger than 1/1s, right, for Esper Sentinel?
Absolutely. I feel like we could have smacked in with the first Magus there, traded with the Esper Sentinels, because Sam could have been like, oh, maybe I get my Inkmoth Nexus back.
Before playing the second one.
Yeah, and then surprised him post-combat.
Every little bit, right? Kind of sneaking through there.
Need those percentage points sometime.
It's the little stuff. The little stuff can really add up in a game, and you'll never even think about like where the effect was on the game.
Passing back here, back on combat. Both these Esper Sentinels will try and trade or chump block here with these Magus of the Boons, and a Surge of Salvation will mean they'll survive the combat as well.
Because prevent all damage from black and red sources, aka these 2 Maguses. And now we have the availability to smack back if we want. Oh, it's a Sigarda's aid.
All right, just playing the spells as we have them.
Because if that was a pure steel, we would have moved that hammer and we would have killed.
Yeah,
Done.
Absolutely.
Oh. See, the top decks of a hammer are so bad, and sometimes they're so good.
Sometimes they're so good, and that's why I keep coming back to it, because they hit so hard.
Yeah, the hits hit.
The losses hurt, but the wins feel great.
David here drew the Underworld Breach. If we had some number of bolts in our deck, our opponent would just be dead.
A single chump block, leaving one of the Esper Sentinels alive, will take Sam down to 3 here.
We only need 1 lethal attacker, not 2. Top deck. Oh, the Hollowed Fountain. We're going to have to block again next turn. The Edict. Making a sack our creature, and we're off to game number 3.
All right. Pretty close one there in game 2. David will take us to a game 3 here.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 15th and 16th spot on our leaderboard, battling it out. We're getting towards the end of our league. I said that there were a lot of points left to get, but we're also running out of weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks remaining, right?
Absolutely. So these players are doing their darndest to scrabble up the leaderboard there. We'll take a quick look at it while they're shuffling up here.
Oh, take a look at that. Number 15, David, our Rakdos Wasteland player. And number 16, Sam, our Blue-White Hammer Time player.
Lots of good players there. Let me see here. We got I'll save the ads for later. I don't want to bore you too much here, folks.
If you want to be on this leaderboard and live in the Buffalo Grove, Illinois area, come April-ish is when season 2 will get started.
Yeah, I think we'll take a week or 2 off of league before we restart again. I want to give people, they've been talking about doing like a meme week.
Hey, meme week is next week. Meme week is next week.
During the league?
Yeah, next week is meme week. I don't know. There's been whispers in the Discord. I'm lending out a lot of cards next week. I'm pretty sure next week is meme week.
Okay. I mean, sure, absolutely go for it. I didn't want to make people have to sacrifice, their leaderboard spots.
People are looking for the following cards. Slime against humanity.
Oh,
I've been heard people are on the hunt for.
okay.
I heard someone say, "Oh, let me make sure I get this weird mill deck together."
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Whoa, whoa, oh my gosh, I can't believe we missed this. Honorug rated us with 250
Woo!
people?
Oh, from we were gonna say it from the MTGO Masters series.
Yes,
Big shout out to anybody hanging out with us. We were chatting with it between the break. I love seeing Modern Magic all day, every day.
absolutely. Nerd Rage Gaming is your sponsor for MTGO Masters. Thanks so much for the raid there, Honorug. I'm so sorry I missed that in chat. I didn't have it pulled up,
Yeah,
but welcome to everyone that's coming from that stream. My name is
yeah.
Aviva Goodman with Dominic Stryker. We do commentary every Wednesday at the Nerd Rage Gaming store. Wednesdays at 6:30. Make sure to hit that follow button if you enjoy what we're doing and don't want to miss the next one. We also do Pokemon on Thursdays at 6:30, and we're raising money for the Greater Chicago Food Depository. So if you're feeling generous, we'd love to see you donate. You can do it right now in chat. Let's get back down to the action, though. Here we got Hammer versus Rakdos Waste Knot. We've got a Sigarda's Aid and an Inkmoth Nexus already in play.
The clock is on, and we only had enough moment to shoot some info because the game could quickly be coming to a close.
Yup, Hammer can kill pretty darn fast.
Rocket's Theater surveilling over this Shieldred, understanding that there is just not enough time left.
We might not even get to 4 mana here. Ooh, a Thoughtseize is really good, but a Surge of Salvation doesn't care.
Yep, because Sam himself gains hexproof. Which means you cannot be hit with this Thoughtseize.
That's why Blacksmith skill is out. Surge is in. Much stronger card there.
Oh boy. Now, David does have a Fatal Push floating through their hand, and Sam did just use their protection piece. So while it looks like it could be moments from disaster, it's also possibly moments from disaster for you. Call an ambulance, but not for me situation. Possibly. The hardest part, I had this when I came and played Legacy here on Friday. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill so many people on turn one. They had a single piece of interaction, and I conceded the game. Sometimes things like that just happen.
That happened to me when I first started playing Magic. I would keep, like, one lane Aether Vial hands, and I'm like, this is incredible. I'm going to kill people. And then I just get turn one Thoughtseize, and I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
Wow, we had it, but calling ambulance, but not for me. Fatal Push takes down the Inkmoth Nexus, and we just have to pass our turn back.
All right. Sam's definitely not out of it yet, but David now has the advantage for sure.
We can breathe. Oh, we missed our land drop.
Oh, we got a Burning Inquiry, though?
But
David
I don't think
opted not to cast it?
And Sam is pushing their foot down on the gas. Stoneforge Mystic now.
Like I said, Sam is definitely not out for the count. Cauldron can kill really quick here. We already have a Hammer. He is thinking a little bit about what he can grab here. He does have a few options. Sorry, go ahead.
No, David has a Shieldred's Edict. So if we had cast our Burning Inquiry, one, we could have lost our point of interaction, but two, we could have lost the mana to pay for it. And if Sam gets something like a Ginger Brute, we could still die on this turn. So we have to continue to make sure that we're holding up our interaction as opposed to trying to develop our mana. Because if you take a turn off, that might be your last turn.
All right. Did you see what Sam opted to grab?
The Cryptic Coat.
He grabbed the Cryptic Coat. All right.
Yep. So same thing. Let's say Sam's missing their land drop as well. But if they find it, they have a threat online that just chunks in and chunks in and chunks in.
David had his Shoulder's Edict, but opts to play the Orcish Bowmaster in Sam's end step instead. Go back to his turn now. I don't think he drew a land, so we're still sitting on. We have March of
We do the
Wretched.
Black March, yeah.
Wretched something. Thank you. That will be the play here.
Yeah, it's going to allow us to turn black cards in our hand into extra mana so we can take care of the Stoneforge.
Pitches a Damnation to cast it.
Turning this into an X equals 2, doing the exact 2 mana damage needed to Stoneforge, and gaining 2 life in the process.
Burning Inquiry will now be the card cast if you don't know this card. Each player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random.
Combos with Bowmaster, because you'll also take 3 damage along the way.
Indeed. I think David is much more benefited by this card. So we'll see. The Stoneforge Mystic now gone. David will be able to attack in for some good damage here. We'll see what cards get lost. A Magus of the Moon, Reforge the Soul, and the Edict.
And
pretty big rips there. Let's see what's ripped out of Sam's hand.
My favorite is pointing at the cards, right? I want this one. Wow.
March Stoneforge.
And the coat.
The coat, hammer, and March of Otherworldly Light, are the rips out of Sam's hand. Both players losing some very important cards out of their hand there. David crashing in for some good points of damage will bring Sam down to 8.
And I always forget, right? In addition to you taking damage from Bowmaster, this 1/1 is now a 4/4. We have 5 damage cracking in, and all of our relevant spells got ripped by that Burning Inquiry.
Ooh, he's got a second march, though. We'll take care of this token.
Yeah, March for 0. Just got to get it out of here.
Really good stuff there.
Wow, we got the Pure Steel. Woo. We are a couple artifacts away from just really presenting big chunks of damage.
Big damage. Not lethal, though. We don't have an Ink Moth, so we'd need to smack with hammer combat damage-wise, not killing through poison. We also need some more artifacts as well, Sam, just with the land in hand, I believe.
Oh, David here drawing a Blood Crypt, so mana woes have been solved, and we're all the way up to 19 points of life.
Shock in a Blood Crypt down to 17 here.
Wow, another Black March in hand. So David taking a page out of the book for these Cabal Coffers decks, using their big mana alongside the March to really like hang in the mid game. David doing the same thing here, using these for X equals 3s, X equals 2s, but that means we've gained 5 life this game. It just adds up, allowing you good ways to use your mana, especially when things get awkward, when you're burning Inquiry and just moving cards from zones. Sometimes you just want something that does the job every time.
A clean battle for on Sam's side of the field. Plays an Urza Saga as land for turn. David will back on his turn, slams a shoulder, turns that Bowmaster sideways. Life totals 4 for Sam, 20 for David. Can he get out of it? Can he survive?
Oh, drew a Spell Pierce. Not when you want to draw that. You wanted that turns ago.
A little bit, yeah. We've played some creatures as well. The only relevant thing would be, I guess, the March. You would have loved to have Spell Pierced.
We're gonna make a construct here and have a 2/2 blocker. But have to throw that under the Shieldred bus. Then our Urza Saga will pop, and we can go get Ginger Brew. Oh, but here's that Underworld Breach.
We saw this in David's deck list earlier. Dom very aptly noted that there are no lightning bolts in this deck, so there's no quick kill there. We have to get a little bit nifty with it.
Right, but is the getting nifty with it casting Burning Inquiry
and killing you with shouldered damage? Seems good to me.
Yeah, I think that's the plan here. Oh, but Sam's gonna be able to Spell Pierce it. We're gonna be able to Spell Pierce it. Oh, we get Surge now.
Surge.
Nope, Surge won't be it. Surge won't be it.
It prevents the shoulder damage, though, because you can't take damage from black sources.
Shieldred's life loss.
Does it just read damage?
I believe you lose 2 life.
Surge of Salvation.
Oh, hoo. Prevent all damage.
All damage.
Damage is life loss. Life loss is not damage. The game is weird, the layers, but here's the Burning Inquiry.
And Shieldred itself does not target either.
Oh, does Shieldred say lose life?
Yeah.
So we're dead, so. Resolve triggers?
Whenever an opponent, there's no trigger there.
Okay, yeah, we've realized we've realized the shielded, and that's the game. Rakdos Waste Not just kind of creeping its way up the curve, interacted once or twice, got its thing online, and took down our blue-white hammer-down player, Sam G, number 15, squeaking it out against number 16.
Absolutely. Great games there. We'll head into our backup match live, see what they've got going on there.
Oh, it's biz. Oh, we're yogging. It's combo time.
Oh, we're yogging, baby.
It's combo time. There's a Yawgmoth all the way at the top, just peeking out. We have a Blood Artist and 2 Young Wolves, and we're flicking them back and forth. I think this is the final moments of this Yawgmoth game.
All right, we'll try and figure out. I don't know what game they're in here, but Danny's doing what Danny do.
I think Josh is saying, do it.
Sure,
Press the buttons.
Josh does have some mana open on his side.
Yeah, we have access to 3 mana, and we're targeting this at the Tide Shaper. I see a green dye on a Blooming Marsh. I believe it might have been tide-shaped into being an island. Good indicator there. Josh is going to make him walk through it, and now he's showing him the dance.
You bring back the dying creature. You take it off so that it can re-undie.
Yep, you just pass the die back and forth. That's the hand. Game to Danny. You're number 4 in your leaderboard, taking on the newcomer and Josh, rocking the Merfolk the past couple of weeks, but taken down by the menace and Yawgmoth in the hands of local killer Danny P.
Absolutely. Yawgmoth has terrorized the local meta for a long time. Rhino's making a comeback, of course, doing a lot of work there. The green splash in the Merfolk deck, not enough to get there, though, so Danny will take down our backup match there. Apologies we couldn't get more of that, but our feature match was just so interesting. Before we head into a break here, if you are looking to buy some cards for any of the decks you've seen, for an RCQ that's coming up, all sorts of good stuff there, how about you head on over to nerdragegaming.com? We have thousands of Magic cards for sale right now. Order for in-store pickup or ship countrywide. We have very low shipping. We have thousands of cards, and we'd like to get them into your hands if you're looking to pick up standard cards. And we don't have them in stock. We're adding more every day. We're trying to really beef up our standard inventory. So add the cards to your wish list if we happen to be out of them, and get notified right away. No obligation to pay. Dom did that just the other day. Dom, what card did you pick up?
Cryptic Coat.
Cryptic Coat. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I put it on my wish list, got a notification yesterday morning, and I picked it up today.
Snatched them up, baby. All right, and that's not very kind of you because I was intending to pick those up. And
Well, don't list them.
yeah, but check out that nerdragegaming.com. We'd love to sell you some cards. We also have another website as well, nrg.tcgplayerpro.com, that has all of our Magic foils as well as all of our inventory for non-Magic games. That includes Pokemon, Digimon, One Piece, and Lorcana. So if you'd love to play any of those other games and get those singles into your hand, check out nrg.tcgplayerpro.com. With that being said, though, we'll be right back with round 3 coverage. Stay tuned.
See y'all soon.
Pew, 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 pew. It's round 3 of Modern League. Woohoo! I'm excited to see some good Magic. We got Merfolk at 1-1. We got Coffers at 1-1. Alex in a very good position on the leaderboard currently is going to try and advance his position by playing a good game against Josh. Let's talk about this matchup a little bit, Dom.
Absolutely. So we have Alex on our left side. This is the big mono black coffers deck, right? So a lot of this is looking to interact early with cards like Fatal Push, March of Wretched Sorrows, Thoughtseize, while setting up some small search engines, as you see, starting here with the Thoughtseize. Alex is going to use this early interaction while trying to set up their mana to get the 1-2 punch of Urborg, Cabal, Coffers in to really jump mana to cards like the One Ring, Karn the Great Creator, and then all of the big stuff out of those Karn packages, as we see, using this Thoughtseize to really get a peek at this Merfolk hand.
Merfolk has gotten a great new card in Tishana's Tie Binder and Deep Root Pilgrimage, although Josh has said he has cut them out of this. I play him in Standard Merfolk, where it's a really good card, but he said that he just doesn't like it
It's
quite.
slow.
It's a little slow, yeah. So he's actually gone from a mono blue build that Merfolk you typically see and splashed into the sort of Pioneer build with the green, playing breeding pools and all that kind of thing. We saw some Cenote Scouts in his quick seconds of backup match last round.
And we're probably going to go turn 1 breeding pool scout here. So put the green splash on display immediately.
We'll see the turn 1 play will indeed be a Cenote Scout, so we'll explore, revealing a Force of Negation, so that card will get a counter, and he can opt to put in the graveyard if he wants. I kind of doubt he's going to do that. That's a pretty strong card.
And now this card gets to supplement the other 1-drop of the Tide Shaper that's in this deck, allowing you, depending on your matchup, access to up to 8 1-mana 2/2s, or at least in Tide Shaper's case, 1 with a kick to make a 2/2 if your opponent's not playing blue. But now it gives you an even more aggressive slant, right? A lot of cards in the early game that can apply pressure that are good to immediately follow up with a turn 2 Lord. In this case, our Lord was taken by the Thoughtseize, but you can imagine if Josh was able on turn 2 here to just slam their Merfolk with the Pearl Trident, this 1-drop would attack for 3 damage. That's doing like wild Nakadal numbers while being in your Merfolk deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that Merfolk also has is a lot of counter magic, a lot of interaction. It's also got a Lord at flash speed, at instant speed, and Vodalian Hexcatcher that also turns your Merfolk into Curse Catcher, so you can sacrifice a Merfolk to tax your opponent for 1 for instants and sorceries, which is great. That's what I really like, the combo with the Deep Root Pilgrimage, because you get a lot of fodder from the Merfolk tokens there.
I see that. Okay.
Which is great. This Tide Shaper, I should note, in addition to allowing for Island Walk on your opponents, is a really good shutdown for the Coffers land that Alex is going to be looking to play here in Cabal Coffers. He will just slam a Shouldered, though, here.
Yeah, after cycling our Urborgs, playing a new Urborg, Ledger ruling it out. The issue is Alex's hand, I think, we played this Shieldred. I think our hand is 2 more Shieldreds and a Karn the Great Creator. I think we got real glutted on 4s in the mid game as a Subtlety hits this Shieldred and it goes.
That's heartbreaking.
Wow, no, sorry, our hand is Shieldred, Karn, the One Ring. It's all 4s. We're locked on 3, and that Shieldred went to the bottom so quickly.
It's crazy. I feel like, does Alex have, let me see, look at his sideboard here. I was going to say, does he have a land in his, he doesn't have like a
But we can't even get to
A
4 right
secret.
now.
Yeah, because we could have played like a Karn and maybe grabbed a mana producer out of the
Mm.
side.
No Darksteel Citadel or anything floating in the
No,
board.
nothing here that really works too well. There's a Crucible of Worlds. We could grab that.
Yeah, loop these Urborgs back and forth every turn.
Here comes that Vodalian Hexcatcher I was talking about. We'll Fatal Push the Cenote Scout. We could... No, we have mana
Yeah.
open. We could sack some Merfolk here to prevent this. We do have that 4 sitting in hand that Alex knows about.
Right, but it's our own turn, right?
It is our
Or
own.
is it? Yeah, it looks like it is our own turn.
Josh frequently plays the Hexcatcher at sorcery speed,
Mhm.
in spite of the fact that it has flash. So yeah, on his turn there.
Yeah, we were playing it out to try to get the Lord effect, to start applying pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Alex with a gentle reminder that it is in fact your own turn, and now a Bowmaster to try to shoot down this Hexcatcher. And
Force negation can't counter creature spells.
Alex might be moving a little quick. Josh has a salty and has been debating back and forth. Good communication is always important. Don't want to give away too much info, but it looks like we are going to try to salty this Bowmaster here. And it goes quickly back on top. Alex just looking for anything that we can actually cast with this handful of 4s. And now Josh untapping. We have the Hexcatcher in play. We kind of want another Lord to start beefing this up to continue to apply pressure. With Alex down to 13 points of life, we've applied some pressure, but
Yeah.
we want to apply even more.
This Hexcatcher on its own is not
Little guy.
very interesting at all. It's just a 1/1.
Don't call it not interesting.
I mean, it does a lot. Absolutely. It's a house.
So,
Need some friends.
Alex kept this Bowmaster, so it's face up a draw that Alex is going to have.
Mhm.
Alex is now incentivized to pass back and have access to their Bowmaster to cast. Josh is floating a Tidebinder through their hand. We can counter the ETB trigger of the Bowmaster and allow this Hexcatcher to survive.
It can survive, but if he... Oh, goodness.
It's time.
It's still a creature that can block, though, so we're not going to get the Orc army.
Right, but if we want, Alex can trade off this Bowmaster for the
Exactly,
Hexcatcher.
yeah. We still risk losing our Lord here, and I don't know if that's a good trade. I don't think it's worth the 1 point of damage that we were sending through here.
Yeah, Alex takes this trade because Alex is looking for a land drop. Once we find one,
We're going.
every card in our hand is unlocked.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Oh, it's the land drop.
It's the best land drop. There's Cabal coffers properly with an Urborg in play as well. I don't know.
Shieldred.
That's enough. So Cabal coffers, you pay 2 mana into it, and then it gives you a black mana for every swamp that you have.
And very smart. Alex did not play the Karn or the One Ring in their hand, knowing that Force of Negation that we saw turn 1 off the Explorer trigger.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Like I said earlier, Force negation cannot counter creature spells, so that Shieldred is a pretty safe play. Especially since we're tapped out, we can't get that Tidebindered either. Tidebinder reads if you play creatures, artifacts, or planeswalkers as the ability that the Tidebinder is countering.
Yes.
That remains blank as long as the Tidebinder is on field. For all other things stifled, it's just for the turn.
Yeah, and it's just, And it's literally just that object, so the Bowmaster's gone. So now we have this kind of free 3-2 that we can attack and block as we wish.
Oh, there it is. The special guest Lord of Atlantis art. It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, is it going to live?
No. Because now our Shieldred trigger, Alex here going up to 14, 14 to 16. Shieldred's going to kind of determine what life spells look like for a good chunk of this game. Alex here drawing a Bowmaster and is forced now to push one of these spells in hand into this Force of Negation.
All right, that will be the secret layer Karn there. It does look like a creature, but it is in fact a planeswalker, much to my chagrin. We'll probably grab something out of our sideboard here. I'll read off. We do have what is it? Alex's full submitted deck list here. So his sideboard: Bolas Citadel, Crucible of Worlds, Stonebrain, Ratchet Bomb, Liquid Metal Coating, Relic of Progenitus, Tormod's Crypt, Collective Brutality, Wormcrawl Engine, and there's a couple that just got cut off for some reason. This always happens when we get Moxfield.
Is
submitted.
there an ensnaring bridge?
There is not. There is not.
That's the target I'm immediately hoping to reach for.
There's an Emrakul.
Oh, okay. This as scripted, the Karn is taken down by the Force of Negation, but a part of that is it forces a 2-for-1 for Alex, taking the 2 cards from Josh, knowing that next turn they get to jam just the exact same spell all over again.
Absolutely, yep. We got a One Ring as well, which synergizes, of course, incredibly well with
Pretty
the
good.
Sholdred.
Pretty well there.
And as the sort of aggro deck in this matchup, the Merfolk deck is going to start running out of ability to close this game out.
Yeah, we really need to turn one of these lands into an island and really get humming.
Yeah, that's the only thing that helps when Merfolk gets a little stuck. That Island Walk is super key, and that's what that Lord grants. It's the Lord that's still sitting around. We could still lose it in combat and then get blocked, but the blockers are tapped out currently. See a Sveiloon.
Of sea and sky.
Let me get that card out. It's been a hot second since I've played that card myself.
One of the best cards in the Grixis Lutri modern deck. No joke. A very, very important piece of that deck's overall strategy is finding this card.
An important thing here that I will note is Sveiloon is currently indestructible because of the other merfolk on the field, so that is a great blocker in face of that Sholdred. And then, of course, protecting our other merfolk with some ward keeps that Lord, makes it a little more staunchly on the field there.
This is the Ward Lord.
The Ward Lord.
Right. This one gives all those ward. The Lord of Atlantis giving everybody +1. We are inching closer to really being an aggressive onslaught, which means it's the perfect time for the One Ring to ruin it.
It's a really good card. I know some people want it to get banned. I don't know. I don't feel like we see it too often. It's just got some very clean synergy in it.
The decks it is in, it is incredible. The amount of decks it is in is less than a handful.
Yeah, I would say pretty minimal there. I don't think Mono Black Coffers is taken down too many events as of late.
I think this deck is kind of a trap.
Oh, why do you say that?
Well, you've seen it do nothing but clunk through this whole game of it's just a lot of cards that are like good, but I don't know if they're good enough together.
Interesting. Okay. Alex did win week 1 of our league with Mono Black Coffers.
They did. But it's still clunky.
It's still clunky. Yes, he does like to switch between a few different kinds of decks here, as he'll take his turn here.
We have the 1-2 punch now. Ring Shieldred is going to just rocket Alex's life total. The fact that the ring is going to be positive life total, not negative, now thanks to Shieldred, be very helpful. And Alex, how dare you? Is this a main deck Plague Engineer in your Cabal Coffers deck?
Oh my goodness, wait. Oh, this gives me flashbacks.
Alex Luke, how dare you?
Oh goodness. What did the Tidebinder counter? I think it's blank right now. The thing.
Yeah, it's long blank from an OG Bowmaster.
Yeah, it countered a Bowmaster.
Yeah, and Alex finally getting a couple land drops. Gonna be able to Shieldred's Edict here to clean up any of these creatures, really.
Gets around that ward.
But now with this land drop, this coffer is gonna tap for 5.
What if you animate? Is that a Mutavault in the top right?
Oh,
What if you animate the Mutavault and set the Mutavault?
I fully would. I think it is our most expendable.
I mean, the Tidebinder's not too great.
But the Tidebinder is bigger. This Tidebinder is a 4/3.
It is slightly bigger. That's true.
So we haven't used our mana for many a turns. I would have let that thing go. Kept all my things with more text on them.
Sure, sure.
And now Sveiloon loses Indestructible.
That is incredibly relevant.
But could regain it if we sneaky Mutavault.
Could, indeed. Mutavault is a great card in the matchup. Here comes a Thoughtseize. We'll see.
An Aboro.
Is that an Aboro?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I heard and said Oboro and thought in my head Odawara.
That's an Aboro.
Yes,
in the cloud.
slightly different blue land.
I asked a Merfolk player years ago why they had these Oboros in the deck. They gave me a beautiful answer. I've long forgotten.
If any Merfolk masters in chat know why Merfolk plays Oboro, please let us know. Here comes this Plague Engineer. Oh gosh, pretty darn good against a kindred deck like Merfolk. I think we're going to name Merfolk here. I don't think we have to go check.
Yeah, I don't think we'll need to check in on that one.
Could name any creature in Magic history, but I think Merfolk will be the choice there.
Does Alex have a Phyrexian Metamorph in their card board?
I don't believe so.
Oh, because we could have sneakily used our Karn, found a Metamorph, copied our Plague Engineer, and given -2/-2 to these Merfolk which would really start the dominoes toppling. But if we don't have it, we don't have it. Instead, we just have the 1-2 punch of Shieldred and the One Ring.
It's a pretty good 1-2 punch, gotta say. I'd bet on that horse.
It's hard because the Merfolk deck is an aggro deck at its base, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an aggro tempo, like jam these cards, counter a couple of things, and really push through. And we are long past the stage of the game where that is a relevant piece of information.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we talked about, right? They're this aggro deck that it misleadingly looks like something else because it plays blue,
Yeah,
and you don't
because
think
it's
of
blue, yeah.
you literally just don't think of blue as an aggro deck. But this is a creature-based deck that likes to turn things sideways.
And those additions of the green splash, like the Cenote Scout, allows them to try to get a more aggressive slant. But we are just pushing far beyond that as Alex is drawing 4 cards this turn.
Mm-hmm.
We have 8 black mana still floating after this play. Just going to start really just jamming so many spells, and Josh is empty-handed now.
Could have asked. This is a fun little thing that I learned. You can ask Alex if he wants to pay the ward cost first, and then you have another priority window to counter it. So you can like steal a mana from him, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, remember your ward triggers. Truly
Mhm.
is a trigger that needs to be remembered.
Yep.
Yeah, but just floating through this mana, we have
Mhm.
5. Looks like we're in the need to go up to 6.
You were saying earlier that the coffers deck is a little clunky, but I think they're pretty greased up and churning smoothly now.
Yeah, I would say with 2 Cabal coffers in play. Once you get to that point after drawing 6 cards off your ring, it's a very different game. And this is what the deck's trying to get to. And once it gets there, it really puts the squeeze on, and Josh scoops it up.
All right, Alex will take down game 1 there. Let's take a look at his deck list. It's been cut a little short. I don't know why Moxfield does this to me. Let me try and redo it while Dom talks you through the Cabal Coffers deck list here.
Yep, so this is I used to call this deck Blacktron, right? It has a very similar aspect of using a couple of cards in the deck to help you assemble this deck's version, which is putting the cards Cabal Coffers and Urborg together. Currently cut off, but that is not a problem. That's the 1-2 punch to start getting you bigger amounts of mana based on your number of swamps in play. You saw it come up there at the end. Trying to use the early game cards like Thoughtseize, Edict, Fatal Push, Bowmaster to push through the mid game till you get big mana, so you can get stuff like your Karn and all the cards out of this sideboard, Karn board. We're seeing things like Wormcoil Engine, Tormod's Crypt, Relic, Liquid Metal Coating, Ratchet Bomb, the Stone Brain, Crucible Worlds, and Bolas' Citadel. All cards in the Karn board, very likely to sit there and hang out. And we have this card, Collective Brutality, somebody respecting the burn matchup. Collective Brutality is an absolute house against burn because you can choose at minimum 1 mode, or you can
You can escalate it.
escalate. Thank you. You can discard a card once or twice to get additional modes. One of the modes is deal 2 damage, gain 2 life. One of the modes is -2/-2 to a creature, and one of the modes is take an instant or sorcery out of your opponent's hand. If you do all 3 of those against your burn opponent, they cry and concede. Okay? You Lightning Helixed, you killed their creature, and you Thoughtseized their hand. This is one of those cards that I have had that floats in and out of my decks that have access to black because it really comes up when you're playing against like Murktide.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we got the rest of it. It's a card that comes up against Murktide, allowing you to like strip a counterspell out of their hand while killing like a Ragavan or an Undelirium DRC, while also allowing you to really help out your burn matchup and other just random decks similar to a Merfolk deck. We could bring this in as just understanding that we can turn 2 cards into our hand into a like slightly Thoughtseize for cards like the Forces, while also still taking out an early aggression or a Lord. So we could have access to bringing those cards in if we really, really want. Our additional card that isn't a part of the Karn board is these 3 Dothy Voidwalkers, which we probably don't need access to. I'd much rather have kill spells and big spells. Just survive the early game, make your way to the late game. Dothy is much for when you're trying to beat Living End or Rhinos or any graveyard-based strats.
Yeah, against an aggro deck, a card that can't block doesn't seem
Not
too
great.
good. Yeah.
I used to have that trouble a lot, trying to like play against. There was a time when Haviva wasn't in the booth and a couple other Merfolk players were around that you could play against this deck a lot playing locally here, and there's a lot of dances you have to do to try to get around their interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to when we were asking about Oboro, people said in chat that it dodges choke and that Oboro has a minor role
Yep.
of filtering Mutavault mana as well.
Yes, the answer was choke. Thank you so much. Yeah, because one, like they're saying, you can use your Mutavault to bounce the Aboro to be able to replay a blue source. So, like they said, filtering that mana. Choke was the answer that I got from Merfolk players. And I have seen recently, if you're watching some local streamers, Choke is making its way into some decks because people are brewing a lot with like green-red strategies that can sometimes have a lot of trouble against blue decks. And Choke is sometimes that big hammer that they're looking for.
My jaw was on the floor the first time I saw the card choke because I was a new baby Merfolk
Yes.
modern player,
Yep. 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 Yep.
and I said, "What?
Yep.
That's a card?
Yep. Yep.
That's a thing?"
Have you seen the card Flash Fires?
No, what's that?
I believe Flash Fires is 3 and a red. Destroy all planes.
Oh,
There's Boil.
I've
3
seen
and a red.
Boil.
Destroy all islands.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of island hate in our examples.
if you're ever wondering
Mm.
why we have Urborg and Yavimaya, but not a red version, a white version, or a blue version, it's because cards like those exist in the modern card pool. It is very, very difficult to allow people to like put the 1-2 punch together of like all your lands are islands and boil you. Like they're not very excited to do that, and there isn't one that makes small mountains because Valakut exists. So you have to be very, very careful about doing like all basic
Oh.
land hate. It's okay for green and for black because there aren't really a lot of cards that, like really attack heavy mana base of those colors, and instead it kind of just beefs up strategies. But the Jeskai ones could be very dangerous if you let those loose.
So in a timeline where we see a lot of cycles being completed, you seem to think it's very unlikely that that cycle will ever
Yeah.
be completed.
I think so. That doesn't mean anything. It could very much so happen.
Crazier things could happen.
I would think maybe the next one that they could do is the Plains one.
Mhm.
The Island one unlocks the Merfolk deck,
Yeah.
and the Mountain one unlocks Valakuts.
Oh my goodness! If we had a Yavimaya for islands,
islands?
oh, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, yeah. It would be like the
That would
Seagate
make my
Wreckage or something.
Mutavaults better. I could play.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the cat. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
goodness! It would make.
That'd be
Oh,
so
that-
very
so
dangerous.
buttery smooth, baby. That would be
Um,
great.
and if you sometimes play cubes where people have some custom cards in their cubes,
Mhm.
that's one of the cycles people very often complete in their cube, as well as the Horizon Canopy cycle. People are
Mm.
hoping might be completed in MH3.
Maybe we've already seen a couple of things that they not
Yeah.
completing the cycle on, but
It's the fetches.
the
You
fetches.
knew they were going to
yeah,
be there.
you knew it
But it only takes 4 slots to finish Horizon Canopy's cycle.
exactly. Yeah,
You could
we got plenty of
you
space.
put 9 lands in your set. That's okay, Wizards. You can do that.
You've heard it here first. Dominic Stryker gives Wizards permission.
It's okay. You guys can do this. It's okay.
As we shuffle up here, Josh will be on the play for game 2 of round 3 of week 8 of our Modern League.
And this is where this Merfolk deck wants to be, right? I want to go threat on 1, threat on 2, counterspell all your interaction, and hopefully kill you soon.
We'll see
In
if
game,
he's
in
able
game,
to
in
do
game.
that.
We have a Tide Shaper, but remember our opponent is not a blue deck, so we most likely need to have access to kicking it. We have the curve of Tide Shaper into Tide Shaper. We could have one and then kick the second one.
Ooh, baby, we could get some island walk going here.
And you've talked about this is a way kind of very easily main deckable to shoot down Urborgs and Cabal Coffers. So we'll see if Josh picked up on that and if we really attack Alex's mana base.
Tide Shaper was a really nice replacement for Spreading Seas because it basically serves the same function and is a body.
And it fights, yeah.
Mhm.
It was a answer to give you access in MH2 when they unlocked a lot of cool Merfolk cards. And it was an answer in MH2 to Urza Saga.
Yeah, no, that I stopped playing Merfolk when Urza Saga came around, but it was always something that I wanted to go back and play some Merfolk with. Was to Spreading Seas and Urza Saga.
We're gonna kick
Speaking
it.
of,
Very interestingly, we're turning Alex's one non-swamp into an island.
yep, the Bajuka Bog will turn into an island here. That's what that D6 will be representative of. And the Tide Shaper gets a buff because of it. Ooh, that's
Another
not a black source.
Yeah, another non-swamp here in this Field of Ruin.
Oh no. I think I
And-
see that coffer on the far side of Alex's hand
Yeah.
though.
And Alex here leading on Bajuka Bog either didn't have a turn 1 play or needed to unlock this black mana. And
Mhm.
Josh may have just kind of accidentally locked Alex off their black mana for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully Josh puts the gas presses on
Mhm.
the gas here and starts swinging some creatures in. Let's play a Lord. He's tapped 2 mana. One of them is colorless, so it can't be a Lord of Atlantis or a Master of the Pearl Trident. It could be a Vodalian Hexcatcher, though.
Yeah.
It will be another
We're gonna
kicked
kick it.
Tide Shaper. We're going to take care of that colorless source, interestingly.
Yeah, just keep cutting Alex off from what they have. This kind of protects our Mutavault, right? And make sure this Field of Ruin doesn't answer one of our remaining creatures.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, but we'll play
Not
another.
another one.
We'll take away the green source over the Mutavault here in this Botanical Sanctum. No responses that we can see from Josh, though he was tanking a little bit there.
Imagine getting your Field of Ruin triggered Tidebindered.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you still lose the land, right? It's part of the cost.
Yeah, you do.
Woo!
It's like Tidebinding a fetch land. You'll
Yeah.
never feel better.
Mm-hmm. All right. Each of these players will grab their respective basic, a swamp and an island. And I saw that Cabal Coffers in Alex's hand. It's waiting to make an appearance, shuffling through his hand here. Shoulders the Edict, shouldered the Apocalypse herself, the One Ring, Damnation, lots of goodies.
The issue is that Coffers has almost no swamps to count.
Does it tap for mana by itself?
Nope. Nunzo.
Yeah, so that's not too good there.
So Alex might play their third Field of Ruin as their land for next turn, just trying to keep up on land drops and hope that an Urborg makes a guest appearance.
In the meantime, Josh will keep doing what he do.
Yeah, it's
play a Lord out.
Oh,
We
looks
don't
like
have
you
a
got some
land.
islands.
Do we have a land to animate this Mutavault and crash in for more damage? Not quite.
I'll hit for 6. Let's go.
Each of these Tide Shapers are 2 because of the island on Alex's side, plus 1 from the Lord. 6 damage total brings him down to 12.
Yeah, I do wish we had that land drop because we would have been able to, with Mutavault, attack for 9 on the 2-turn clock instead of attacking for 6 on a 3-turn clock.
Land off the top could not get here sooner. That second black source means we can Damnation, which I think will be the play.
And
Oh,
I think
it'll be a fog instead.
Do we have Force? Oh, we have Dismember, Subtlety, and a the Voldalian Hexcatcher.
The One Ring will be the play for Alex here, granting him protection from everything. So even with all these creatures on Josh's side of the board, they're not going to do any damage this turn.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Alex did not activate their One Ring, and Josh has drawn a Tidebinder, so we're going to be able to lock down this One Ring when Alex goes to activate it.
Ooh, that's pretty fun.
Ooh, yes.
I'm nervous how much Josh is going to commit into a Damnation, though. I feel like he might overextend here. There's a danger of that.
Our whole hand has Flash, so no need. Get him, Josh. Get him, Josh. Get him, Josh. Josh, this is it. This is your moment.
Alex activating the ring and asking him if he can do it.
1, 2, 3. Ding, ding.
Tidebinder will turn the One Ring into a blank card until it leaves the field. So no extra cards for Alex to draw there. We'll untap with 2 black sources and a Damnation in hand in the face of some pretty hefty damage.
Another Field of Ruin.
We'll play a land first. The Force of Negation is a fear for sure. Josh has at least 2 cards in his hand.
Yep, you got 2 cards. They could be blue card Force. Like, that is the way that it is.
Damnation will be the play, though. Make him have it.
And we sure don't.
He does not.
Right? It's so ooey gooey tempting, right? To go after this One Ring. And I baited him into it. He doesn't know that, but I did. And our hand was an answer to this Damnation, but we just gotta let them all go.
There they go. We do have this Mutavault that we could animate. Crashing for a little bit of damage. Not nearly enough. The wind has been taken out of the Merfolk player's sails for sure. And this One Ring is back online.
We drew another Hexcatcher. Very interesting that we have Dismember in our deck still. I guess we need to make sure that we have at least some answers to Shieldred, which I get.
It doesn't kill Shieldred, though. It's only 4. Dismember is 5?
I swear.
No.
Because,
Which member? Hold on.
This is a very important detail.
Oh, I'm full of beans, man. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was like, I thought so, but boy, did I not think so.
It's for life that you lose.
Yep.
That's where I messed up, I think.
I was like, yeah, this is one of the Shieldred answers we have.
There we go. Yes, that is a good card still.
And Alex looking to use our field again, going after that Mutavault. Josh, you get an island, but more importantly, Alex hits a 3rd swamp, which means now Cabal Coffers is positive odd mana, you
Mhm.
can now tap
Mhm.
2 swamps in it to make 3, turning into a land that actually taps for mana now.
And Alex very carefully not playing the Cabal Coffers until he has to.
Yeah.
Of course, he's seen those Tide Shapers take care of some of his other lands, so you don't want to play such an important piece in your deck and then quickly have it answered by a little 1/1.
Chat, I love interaction. Alex on the left side, full matching basics. Josh on the right side, experiencing the gamut of beautiful islands. Choose your champion.
Unsanctioned, Wilds of Eldraine, Phyrexia, all will be one. Lots of good choices there. Alex rockin'. Ooh, can I see? I think it's Odyssey.
Yeah,
Odyssey basics for Alex.
this beautiful wretched tree. As now we activate our ring, full access to this. About to really push our mana advantage, using our Troll of Khazad-dûm in our hand to find another swamp, and now we have a fully positive mana producing Cabal Coffers come our next turn when we have that unlocked.
We also have mana to activate this Field of Ruin as well, though we have no legal targets currently. But that's some insulation against, Boro or Mutavault.
Yeah, I might just leave that with Mutavault's name written on it in case that comes up.
Basically, yeah. Tishana's Tidebinder is the card drawn for turn on Josh's side. He's just going to pass it back to Alex.
I love the, that was kind of the Collected Company style pass. I have nothing to do, go ahead. But they had 5 flash threats in it.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have enough power in our hand, in Josh's hand, to kill here. It's just a question of if they can stick around long enough to do so. Cabal Coffers finally on the field will start producing mana. 2 mana into it to produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Excuse me, 4 mana. The Bojuka Bog is not a swamp. And we'll play a Karn, the great creator.
Now, this is what I was saying before. I really wish we had an Ensnaring Bridge in our deck because we can... You know what? We have the ring, so I get not having it, right? We're going to net cards, and then it's going to be kind of turned off. I was talking to some folks out between matches that card is a bane of my existence of trying to kill an opponent through an Ensnaring Bridge. The Ensnaring Bridge.
Oh, Ensnaring Bridge, for sure.
So I think I've had on the brain that a card is very hard to beat, but this might be the deck that doesn't have interest because of its access to the ring.
All right, Alex is going to go to activate Karn here. I do know there's a Tidebinder in Josh's hand, though.
Get him.
I feel like now is a good time to use it.
But Alex has a March of Wretched Sorrows in hand. We're going to subtlety this Karn, it looks like.
Oh.
Send it to the top, which is good because that allows Josh to still be able to use our mana this turn if we have interest in playing some of our flash threats. How about Shieldred?
A Shieldred? Oh, you can't counter, or you can't stifle the ability until your turn when it triggers. So we have the mana
to pay for and kill it.
Never mind. We'll dismember it instead.
Yeah, and this allows us to be able to kill off the Shieldred and to have 2 mana left for the Flash Lord in our hand. Alex, we're going to activate our ring in response. Good sequencing to draw these 2 cards while we still have access to the Shieldred.
Go up to 14 here on Alex's side to Josh's 16. Excuse me, 13.
Yep, we have 13 to 16 in favor of Josh, but the cards in play might be telling a slightly different story.
Agreed. Like you said, though, Josh has some flash creatures, so, yep, resolve this dismember, get that Shieldred out of there.
This is what I would like to do. Can we still take care of that?
And come on, play the Hex Catcher. We gotta get in there.
I think it's a, what's the Tricks? I think it's a Merfolk Trickster.
It is a Trickster, you're right, yep. That one does have flash as well.
Yeah, I definitely would have thrown that one out there.
Yeah, that one's only good for, forcing damage. It doesn't really negate anything there. So
yeah,
playing it out without a target is fine, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the card we would want to lose its abilities would be Shieldred, and we already took care of that problem.
Right, yeah. And Trickster only removes for the turn. It's not as good as Tidebinder.
Josh Stone Cold Killer looked at Alex and did this.
Ooh. Kind of looks like Eminem with the hood and everything.
Okay.
Tidebinder on the ring again.
Yeah, but Alex...
You still add the bird encounter, right?
No. Because it says, tap, blah 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 blah, draw cards, add a burden. Like it's
Oh,
all a
burden
part
counters
of it.
at the end.
Yeah, I think it's at the beginning, but it's all a part of
It's
its.
after the colon.
Yeah. As opposed to before. That's what we saw Alex checking earlier, so I trust him.
Yep, and this Tidebinder will go down to a March of Wretched Sorrow. Gaia reached Sanitarium, the land for turn on Alex's side, and this Karn will come down again. No Tidebinder now to prevent this activation. We'll down tick, I assume, and grab something out of the sideboard here.
I wonder if we want something like a Wormcoil engine and just kind of really help us put this game away. Right, just get like a big threat, know that we can cast it next turn. Get the coding,
Liquid metal
do the
coating,
lock.
do the thing.
Our opponent only has 3
Ooh,
lands. So.
Bolas's Citadel.
Oh yeah, do the big thing.
Yep.
If you want access to all those cards that got thrown away, this is definitely a way to get it.
Let's take a look at Bolas's Citadel here. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its CMC rather than pay this mana cost. And you can tap, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents, and each opponent loses 10 life.
Yep, that's Bolas Citadel.
That I usually see in Commander.
Commandees, yep, for sure.
I'm not quite sure. Is it just to gain value? It's like a Mystic Forge sort of thing where we're just able to cast stuff off the top there.
Yeah, we're at 15 life. We have a deck full of cards that is good. One of the best parts is this is going to allow us to net even more card advantage because Alex is playing all 4 of their copies of the One Ring in the main deck. So this is kind of serving that role of having like a big card advantage engine in your sideboard because we want all of the rings in the main. This is kind of the 5th ring giving us his access to getting a mountain of cards.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like Alex is just continuing to move up on resources while Josh sort of stagnates and even goes down, in my opinion. You know, he played the subtlety and lost a card there, had some of his creatures removed. Still has his Tidebinder in hand. He's played a couple of Tidebinders already.
Yeah, they're trying to bind the tides,
They're trying, but this life gain from Shouldered, I feel like, is just putting this game out of reach again for an aggro deck.
And we can kind of see the gears turning for Josh. We're asking our opponents questions. We're kind of thinking about the cards in our hand.
Evaluating the situation we're in.
But Alex's hand is just already juiced. And now we got the One Ring and Shieldred. One of the older combo we saw them assembling earlier. And we even saw this same combo at David in round 2. We're seeing Alex here trying to really ratchet it up here. Josh, it feels like we've done this play over and over of activate ring, Tidebinder it, activate ring, Tidebinder it. But this is the cards that we have, right? So we got to play the ones that we're dealt.
No, Josh is not a scooper. He's trying to figure out a line, trying to play it. He'll continue to play his cards until he's got no more left. Play out a Tidebinder. Played to stifle the One Ring, I believe.
Yes. So no matter what, even if Alex is trying to interact here and kill off the Tidebinder, it will still counter that activation of the One Ring. So an important part, like I always think, like, oh, if I kill this thing, it'll stop it. The ETB will still just like counter that trigger, even if it's not sticking around to lock the card down. You still will get that part of the Tidebinder's effect, even if it goes away.
Right. It's just unlocked immediately. But it's already tapped, so you can't retap it.
Yep. Alex using our troll, getting a bunch of mana, really unlocking just big mana off the Cabal coffers. Play the Bolas' Citadel with a lot of mana to work with.
I don't think do you just have perfect mana there to cast the Citadel? I feel like he didn't even count his Cabal.
Oh, he very purposely searched up another swamp with his troll. So I think we've been doing the math.
He's done this for a while.
Bowmaster, pay 2, shoot 1 point of damage upstairs. Very interestingly, so Alex could have looked at their top card before choosing where to do with their Bowmaster, which could have slightly changed what we're thinking. And it looks like our top card is a Plague Engineer. So if we had shot this Tidebinder, we could have killed it off with the Engineer.
Very good point, yeah.
Not used to just, having this beautiful future sight in play to, like, allow you to really churn through the deck.
Right, it says anytime.
Anytime.
Anytime you want.
Also known as when you're trying to put triggers on the stack. Like,
exactly.
How about plus my Karn, make it a 6/6?
Oh, boy.
Rumble in the jungle.
Have you ever been hit with a building before? I have, in Standard. Its name is Topiary Stomper.
Oh, yeah.
But how about in modern?
Yeah, I've thrown a lot of Karn plus on rings at people, but
Ooh, for
have not
sure.
thrown a Citadel at someone. Josh drew our card. Looks like no land drop, and then looked like we were passing it right back to. I mean, I know there's swamps, but the mountain of mana that Alex has to work with.
Well said. Well said.
And I think we're gonna try to Tidebinder down.
Ooh, the
Uh,
trickster.
I think we're the trickster on the Shieldred. Most likely before the draw step,
Yep, is gonna
and
lose its abilities until end of turn.
Alex not even interested in tapping the ring in response to gain a boatload.
I think it's just extra at this point. You know, a little gravy on top.
Hey, who doesn't love extra gravy though? That's how I get through Thanksgiving.
There you go. There you go.
And the thing is, there's so much mana for Alex.
He's got so many things to do.
Free land drop, pay 0, put that into play. Remember, Bull Seal doesn't let you bypass the 1 land per turn rule,
Mm-hmm.
but it does allow you to, for free, play that top card as your land for the turn.
Right, Castle Lochthwain, the land played off of the Citadel there.
Push. Just push it over. Just push it.
How do you push something that swims? Like, where do you push it off
Hey,
of?
I'm just pushing it. All right.
Like, I get mad at the flavor of it. Like,
When
when
it
you,
hits a flyer.
yes, when you fatal push
Yeah.
like an angel. I'm like, no,
I
it's
I walk up.
not how it should work.
I walk up and I push him.
I push
I
him.
push him. That's it, dude. You just gotta push him.
I'm new in town.
And big mana, new ring. Who needs the old one? Didn't even activate it.
This one gives me protection from everything, which I don't think Alex
Don't
needs.
need, yeah.
But it's there if you want it. I don't think we have
Yeah.
any merfolk with haste.
Honestly, if I was Alex, it's hard because your life total is dwindling. But I
Mhm.
kind of want to, for a little bit, hold on to that second ring to have ring insurance, right? Know that if things get scary, I can throw the card down.
Mhm.
It looks like we're activating Guide Sanitarium. Josh discarding our green card because we have all islands after getting fielded a couple times this game.
Mhm.
Just trying to figure out what to do, but unfortunately, I think just very few answers are coming up. They're starting to get aggressive with his Bowmaster.
Yeah, I don't think there's any downside to attacking here. We'll bring Josh down to 9 points of life.
Alex taking a peek at the top, as you can do at any time. How about a little Thoughtseize?
Bring him down to 7 off the
Oh.
Bolas Citadel penalty and the Thoughtseize being
Yep.
resolved.
We're taking this pick your poison, leaving with a breeding pool. Just no poison to be picked. If we had named Artifact, Alex could just get rid of this ring and just keep their Citadel, or get rid of this Citadel, keep their ring. Now we're carning for Wormcoil Engine.
Didn't he uptick the Bolas' Citadel?
Last turn,
Oh,
right?
that was last turn?
Yeah.
Okay, because...
But
Okay.
we didn't do anything. We just put a big six. I think Alex did it as a show of strength, just like
Sure.
I have 6/6. Threw it back to Josh. Josh did nothing with the 3 mana, and now we're back to Alex's turn.
Okay, great.
And doing turns like that, just kind of taking up your Karn where you can, allows you to keep going back into the sideboard well and getting more cards.
Dig for some more treasure.
Yeah, dig for some more treasure. Karn, big fan of treasure. Just getting in there. As that's the handshake. Alex taking it down 2-0. Really just putting a squeeze on Merfolk. Looked like we had an incredible aggro start, but it took a couple of turns to really get the engine going. A few important cards stripped out of the hand, and that's the game for Alex. Number 6 on the NRG monthly Modern League.
Yep, there you go.
Leaderboard.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A sort of a slow squeeze at the end there of the mono black deck tightening around the Merfolk deck. Alex will take it down in 2, though, and our backup match, I'll tune into them. They're just chatting.
Gone. They're
Done.
They're hanging. They're just hanging. It looks like.
They've completed their match. So let's talk. Speaking of the NRG series, if you're looking to play some competitive Magic yourself, if you enjoy Modern, what better way to do it than in Minneapolis on 4/20? Come play in our 10K Modern Showdown, the winner of which automatically qualifies for the NRG Series Championship event. The winner of that goes to the Pro Tour. Steven Dykman just played in Pro Tour Chicago this past weekend due to his winning at our last championship event, and that could be you. In Minneapolis, we also have, for our lovely Legacy fans, we have a 5K Legacy trial as well. Tons of prize money to give out, lots of side events to play. Artists will be there as well. Need I mention Inkling Customs? If you win a showdown, you also get your own custom token. Chat, who would you like to be? Our last winner At our showdown in Chicagoland, Sean Gallagher said he probably wants to pick a food token. That one hasn't
Mm.
been picked yet. I was thinking maybe like a shark or clue was going to be his pick. That
Ooh.
seems pretty thematic with a blue-white control
Yeah.
there. Tons of different ones to pick, though. You can receive our tokens at any of our events. Some of the good ones from last year were Fletcher's Copy token, Hobbs's Treasure token, Weiser's Blood token is a really popular one. Of course, that beautiful Dykeman map
The
token as
map.
well, mapped to the Pro Tour with our lovely Hot Dog Livy on there as well. And if you can't make it to Minneapolis, we have a couple more events already announced for this year. We have Indianapolis in May, which is a double 10K showdown weekend, 2 different chances to um, earn a spot in our
Qualify.
championship event. Thank you. 4 spots, in fact, going. 1 on Saturday for modern, and then 3 on Sunday for team trios. I forget the formats for that. I believe it's standard.
Pioneer, modern.
Yeah, standard, pioneer, modern. So grab some folks and head on over to Indy in May. And then, of course, St. Louis will wrap up the first half of our schedule with a 10K showdown in pioneer and a 5K trial for modern. That will wrap up round 3 coverage, though. You guys can take a peek at this schedule, take a picture, save it to your phone. We're going to go pick out some round 4 features. We'll be right back.
See y'all soon.
Welcome back. We're in our final round here of Wednesday Night Modern. We got 2 heavy hitter Magic players in the building at the feature match area, George Jabor and Ray Bosque.
Number 3 versus number 5. Blue-white control versus the new hotness in Domain Zoo. Bringing in the big Leyline of the Guild Pack, Battle of the Companions, Kihira versus
With the little, is that
Jogantha.
the baby Skura?
Those are the baby Skuras, yeah.
The baby Skura companion tokens.
Yep. George bonded with the folks, and now, I mean, clearly rubbed off the power of his good friend 4-0ing on Blue Eye Control last week. George looking to pull off the same thing this week, but standing in his way. Domain Zoo.
Domain Zoo. We'll see if we can pull off a turn 1 or a turn
Yeah.
0, excuse me. Leyland of the Guild Pack here. Oh, they
Now
don't
we'll
know
just-
that they're supposed to start.
We'll
Oh my gosh.
Let's give him a quick go ahead, and as you can see, they've resorted to playing with dice. But the moment has come. The fight will begin, and the player on the play is George Jabor with a Rogren Triumph. They're checking real quick because we're using some new apps to make sure that we can get really pretty life totals for you. They're just checking to make sure that it's the perfect viewing experience for all of you. We are on board so you can view this beautiful, big as can be 20v20.
They were very worried about an ad popping up, so they
Yeah.
wanted to know if that was all kosher.
Yeah, Ray quite literally downloaded this app a moment before the feature so that we could have a pretty app on screen.
Yeah, hey, if anyone is in touch with the people that make the companion app, can you make the numbers bigger, please? I'd really appreciate it.
Pretty please, when not in commander mode, make the numbies big.
Thank you much. All right, first spell of the game will be a Territorial Kavu.
Don't cheat,
On
don't
Ray's
cheat.
side of the field, Beefy Boy is coming for some beats.
Yep, I'm just checking to make sure. What we fetch for? We fetch for Sacred Foundry. We have 4 of the 5 domain and a Solitude, pitching into Fairy, quickly answering this Territorial Kavu. And Ray looks very pleased with that. It took Ray longer to search for that Sacred Foundry than for George to take his whole turn. Looks like we hedge mazed that Force of Negation into the graveyard. Not too many targets against this deck.
No, lots of creature spells in a domain
Lots
deck.
of creature spells. Lots of creature spells.
Leyline Binding, I think we can deal with.
And
But
now,
those creatures are pesky.
yeah, back to Ray. Looks like a hand with a Tribal Flames,
Ooh.
3 Leyline Bindings, and a
Speaking
Scion
of-
of Draco.
Oh boy.
So this turn is most likely going to use one of our fetch lands to set up Domain Finding. We are currently missing nothing. Full 5 Zagoth Sacred Foundries, so don't need to complete anything, but maybe on the hunt for a Triumph when we have a moment to use our spare mana. These guys are moving everything every which way,
Oh boy.
but Ray most likely can use their excess mana while they can, and probably try to slam a Scion of
What's
Draco.
going on here? What's with this little tabletop dance we were doing here?
I don't know. They don't
All
know.
right, I think we've got it figured out now. George in his happy place. 2 open blue
Yeah,
sources.
right. Passing a turn back. We're not dead on turn 3. Our opponent's taking very few game actions, and 2 blue held up.
Sick with it.
I wonder what Ray's doing is shocking this breeding pool to kind of pretend to have a pierce or a stub or whatever to try to interact while we put this Scion on the stack. But we tap both our blue sources.
Yep. All right. So the sign will resolve back on George's turn now.
It's always very telling when your control opponent very purposely held up double blue,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't counter your thing, and very quickly untaps. Either the mastery of I don't care about that, I'm going to untap real quickly,
Or he does nothing.
or you have nothing, right? Because a very good control player can almost not telegraph their counterspell by deciding ahead of time what they do or don't want to counter.
Right.
And now we're quickly tapping for this Teferi, which makes me think we did not counter the Scion because we had an answer for now kind of rolled up to keep the game moving.
Right, absolutely. We drew something for turn. I think this fairy was probably already in hand. Minus on the Scion. Scion comes back down. Resolves again.
And we might be trying to leyline binding this Teferi. And now the question is do we still have nothing? We still have nothing.
That resolves because I see that fairy has stayed under the binding there, but we are fetching for George here.
About to get a surveil land,
Another
meticulous
surveil
archive.
land. That's a pretty one too. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Get a little surveil on.
Keep it on top.
And untap. Big rips.
What is it, George? This is a solitude. That's a good one.
Do we have our 5th land drop to go with it? The speed of
George,
play.
I can like never see George's cards in his hand. He holds them so close to his chest.
He holds them very 90 degree to the camera.
That too, yeah.
I'm looking straight down. I can see the top of the cardboard.
I don't play Magic anything at straight angles. Everything is leaning like all sorts of ways. I cannot sit in a seat straight to save my life.
I hold the cards at a fine angle. I just flick them too fast. So I'm a menace on camera.
For sure, yeah. It's like when Adam's on camera. You can't see none of that stuff.
The thing is I'm getting so bad at doing it in non-Magic games as well.
Yeah, so like we're playing like
I do it with Uno.
I was literally gonna say Uno with the family. Yeah.
I flick through Uno so fast. The thing is when they're in sleeves, you can get that snap.
Yeah.
And when they're not in sleeves, they don't snap. So you do it with an Uno card, it goes like, and I need like,
yeah.
I want to really feel it. But Ray, looks like we might have a small reprieve with George tapping out again for a Teferi holding up 1 mana. We're just going to keep trying to play this same Scion of Draco.
Resolves again.
Because George, a part of using this Teferi is kind of us trying to cycle through our deck to find that 5th mana source to unlock that Solitude in our hand. And it's kind of okay that Ray's using these cards on these Teferis because the Teferis kind of already did their thing. They kind of just bounced it, draw a card. We're fine with those things happening.
Makes you spend your turn paying mana and replaces itself. It seems like a pretty good trade for a blue-white player. Leyline your Leyline?
The thing is these bindings are bindings that aren't going on your rings, your Narsets, your Solitudes, your Kihiras. I'm fine with them going on my Teferi.
Leyline your Leyline your Leyline?
Leyline your Leyline on your Leyline on your Leyline.
Hey, dog, I heard you like Leylines?
Right, and we couldn't respond to a Leyline because this Teferi was in play. But we have Force making its way back into George's deck. If you read his article a few weeks ago, he's talking about how Force isn't very good in the meta right now, but it's slowly starting to creep back in.
What made him put it back in then if it's not good in the meta?
I'm not sure yet. It's a recent addition.
Only the master knows.
Right. And I am far from the student, all right? I'm just trying.
I'm not even a student, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Just happy to be here. Ain't that the truth? Right, continuing to set up our mana, but the thing is we've spent all this time joking and firing bindings on bindings. You got 2 cards left in hand, dude. Like, we do not have a lot to work with now. They are Kavu Tribal Flames Ragavan, but
that's pretty good. Kavu just loots, right? It doesn't actually gain cards.
Correct. It rummages, it can discard and draw, or exile a card from a graveyard. So it got some slightly relevant modes. The thing
Ragavan is technically plus card.
Yeah.
If it connects.
George has a Solitude though, so whoever it is,
you're
gonna
Solitude a Ragavan? Oh, you can hardcast a Ragavan. Excuse me. Oh my goodness.
Yep,
he found that 5th land.
But how about this instant
Whoa!
speed?
Look at that nice signature too.
Shout out to Ron Spears.
That's very pretty.
Yeah, Ron Spears has got a good one. Ron Spears is actually a friend of mine's college professor. I sent a bunch of cards to her and got them signed. It was so
Mhm.
cool.
Sorry, I got confused there. That's not even a solitude. That's
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 Supreme
that's an
Verdict.
instant speed supreme verdict because
Yeah.
Teferi.
Teferi's wild. I use these plus Teferis for instant speed creativities. It's much
That's
better
very
on instant
fun.
speed verdicts.
I just got so distracted by the pretty signature, I didn't even like parse what the card was.
And now Ray's just going to try to resolve this Kavu.
Sure. Tribal
Kavu.
Flames is so little of what we need to get
Yep.
this game gone with.
The thing is this Teferi is up to 3 now, and if we want, we can just cycle this Teferi away and bounce the Kavu. But instead, we're going to go upstairs,
Nah, keep
instant speed
it.
again, because we still have that Solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Ray cycling a Triumph, a show of great strength.
Yeah. Why
But
do you say that?
it was sarcastic. But we did
Oh.
draw a Scion of Draco off of it.
Sick, I'll take it. Ooh, a bolt as well. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
It's not too bad. I'll take it.
But we have this binding, and it's most likely going to raise combat. And because it's a fairy, you can't interact while I'm trying to do this. And easily fighting back. And now Ray sees we have this Tribal Flames. Are we going after Teferi? Ray, this Teferi does not matter. But we're counterspelling it.
Oh, there's that new Texas counterspell.
Shout out to Magicon.
I don't know what that card does. It has no words on it.
Couldn't tell you.
Sign of Draco resolves again on Ray's side of the field.
And pick it up. Using that Teferi.
Pick it up.
Picking it up. Drawing a card per turn. Just having another. That's still that Solitude. It's still here. We haven't had to use it yet. George using Teferis to just keep tempoing this domain deck. And tempo them. Tell you to pick it up. Throw it back. Tell you to pick it up.
Do a little dance. Throw it back.
Yeah. And now we've got, over there is the pile of bindings. Here's a lightning bolt on Teferi, but this Teferi's put in so much work and ate this bolt.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we're still sitting at 19 points of life.
How
It's
about
incredible.
hard cast Leyline of the Guild Pact, anyone?
All right, that can make our creatures a little bit better now. Now they have hexproof.
Only alongside a Scion. Remember, that's Scion of Draco's effect. This Leyline just makes all lands, all types, and all creatures all color.
Right. Ooh, pending.
Yeah, say goodbye. Get that out of here. Red, blue, green, white.
Yeah, we got all the colors there to get rid of that permanence. Another lightning bolt off the top.
And here's that same Scion that is danced in and out of hands.
We could put this Gigantha into hand.
Yes.
That's a creature we could play.
We probably should have done that. We're holding up a bolt, but
yeah, I don't think we need to bluff anything else there, to be honest.
George finding his third Surveil in this game. Like, understand that these cards are changing the way we think about mana bases in Modern Magic. If fetch lands are here, so are the Surveil lands.
Ooh.
The
Hitches the Supreme Verdict.
pure strength to throw a Supreme Verdict in the trash can.
He's got so many other things that deal with creatures, like a Leyline Binding.
And we're binding the binding on us to Teferi so that we can cycle and make you pick up the Scion and have a Teferi as well. Bolt
Good
upstairs.
plays all around.
Now binding on binding. Get back to Teferi. Pick it up. Tell him to pick it up. And just keep moving through our deck. George now finding his favorite card.
When to play it.
He has a Solitude again in hand, so no need to take any game actions. Let him have the Scion. Fire back. Thinking. You can tell just through these face cams, Ray, head and hands, really not having it. George, calm.
George does not look calm at all. He looks very eager to me. He's excited. He's doing the thing. He's playing the cards.
You can see the speed starting to pick up, right? A little lean forward here.
Yeah.
He got his companion in play, and Ray has seen enough.
That is enough. George, our number 3 seed, will take down game 1 in our final match of the night. Let's go into sideboards and let's take some looks at some deck lists.
Who's first?
Let's do George.
Let's take a look at Georgie boys. Sideboard number 1, the hero, Kihira. Remember, this entire deck, only creatures are the elementals, meeting all criteria. We have a sideboard subtlety, 2 Flusterstorm, 3 Stern Scolding, 2 Dovin's Veto, 1 Ray of Revelation. The Day's Undoing. It's moved from the main, hides in the side. So those matchups that really take a long time to get through, this is the hammer for those matchups. 2 Force of Negations to pair with the 2 in the main deck, 1 Supreme Verdict, 1 Chalice. Give me this Verdict, right? Absolutely get this Verdict in my deck alongside that Subtlety, right? Most of what the pressure is going to come out of this deck is going to be Kavus, Scions, Nakados, Ragavan. Subtlety allows you to kind of keep pace. That alongside the one you already have in the main, alongside your Solitudes, should allow you time to fight back while you get something like this Supreme Verdict into your deck as well.
Absolutely well said. So we know what they're going to include hypothetically. These this fourth copy of Supreme Verdict, the
Mhm.
subtleties. Question is, what do you take out of the deck?
I'm cutting these 2 Chalice of the Voids.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think we may have our eyes on the Ray of Revelation in the sideboard.
Oh, for
So this
sure.
is destroy target enchantment, and then flashes back to destroy an enchantment. If we are worried about our opponent's bindings and the ley line of the guild pack, it might be worth it just to have this card that kind of floats around and know that we could have answers to those problems.
It's definitely a solid include if George opts to go for it. Let's take a look at Ray's deck list as well, though. Rocking 76 cards, 61 in the main. Take a look at this sideboard. He's rocking Hidetsuka Consumes All, Gigantha in the companion spot, Flusterstorms, Pick Your Poison, Stubborn Denial, Celestial Purge, Engineered Explosives, Stone of Eric, and Cursed Totem. What do you like out of here, Dom?
Oh, interesting. So it's weird because you're kind of incentivized to have this stubborn denial. We already have the 3 in the main, but the thing is you can't rely on actually having a 4-power creature in play, and it might not even be worth it to have literal counter target spell unless they pay 1. Can't remember the name of the card, but that's okay. May not be worthwhile because you can't guarantee to keep your big power creatures around. I think Ray may not have the best tools, but their best tool might just be aggression.
I think so. Yeah, that's how you beat control decks, right? Because George is going to win in the long game. He's advantaged there, and I think you just got to get him dead before he
Hmm.
can stall you out.
And very important, Ray's mana base right now is Breeding Pool Island. This
Ooh.
Nakatl is a 1/1 that Neshoba Brawler would have played was a 2/2/3.
Hmm.
George forced to subtlety that because I think they just need to, whatever card you were going to play, I can't have you have that right now.
Right, absolutely. Surveil Land Meticulous Archive will be kept on the top there. Drawing for turn will be a Windswept Heath, excuse me.
Yep, keeping 1-landers even better, having fetch and a surveil, you can just help yourself find that second land.
Yep, pretty good stuff.
And
oh, no. I can hear Ray from outside. He's
Yeah.
very upset about that fetch. I don't know for what reason.
Well, I think George is fetching in his main phase, and Ray is about to untap the Tashana's Tidebinder.
Oh.
And I think he may have verbalized, I'm going to do this now in case you have Tidebinder. That's my read on a situation like that.
Got it. Interesting. All right. Okay. So we'll get a hedge maze there off the Heath.
As Ray untaps, plays his 3rd mana source, attacks for 2 with his Nakatl thanks to his planes.
Mm-hmm. Take George down to 16 here.
I was right. Look at that Tidebinder in hand as we play out a second 2/2 Nakatl, really on the hunt for a mountain. Teferi
will be the play for George on his 3rd turn. Will get stubbornly denied.
Stubbornly denied.
Get that out of here. I would like to continue to turn my stuff sideways, please.
They may just be 2/2s, but I do need them.
Mm-hmm. It's a clock, even if it's a long one.
George, quick, 4th land drop and Supreme Verdict. Just deal with the 2 cards you have here.
No longer has that stubborn denial in hand. It can't get countered anyway.
But we're going to flash on this Tidebinder. Just continue to apply pressure.
Sure.
And George not looking... Big flips.
Oh, that's a lot of information.
Yeah. But George not as cool as we were the game before. Really flicking our cards back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I've starting to learn George's tells.
You pick them up, yeah, for sure.
You can tell when he flashes on his Tidebinder, George did the and
don't like that.
Nope. Yeah, did not like it as this continues to apply pressure.
Oh, I was about to say, do we put the Gigantha in hand? And we do.
Yes, Ray.
All right. We are on the beatdown plan. Get these creatures in play.
It would not have been that defining last game, but we did have that turn that Ray missed to pick it up just to hold up a bolt. But this game, we were ready. And so George is playing out this One Ring. And the colors that Ray is missing is red and black to make your Leyland Binding cost 1. So the binding that we accidentally flashed to the table, we can't even search for an untapped source of this Heath to lock it down because red and black, that's not finding white.
Mm-mm. So I think this fetch will be used to fix our mana, and then
Hmm.
perhaps not a
Yeah.
main step leyline binding, but back on
Yeah.
his turn again.
We most
Maybe you don't
likely,
want to let it
yeah,
untap though.
right. I think we're gonna find probably a Savai Triome,
Mm-hmm.
and then untap for turn, use that white mana, immediately take this ring away from George, and then try to move on with things. We shall see. Bingo! Savai Triumph off this Windset Teeth. This allows us access to one, all of our colors, but a thing that I really, really like in these domain decks is having a lot of access to white mana so that we can still move through our turn, do our domain plays, but have access to Leyline Binding.
Mm-hmm. Protection from everything means that this Deshaun's tie binder can crush him, but it won't do too much.
Yeah, won't do too much. Won't do too much.
So a building turn here.
Kavu time. We've been floating this Kavu through our hand since turn 0. Finally have had access to red mana to cast it.
Did I spot a lightning bolt in Ray's hand as well?
Oh, I see a Binding Bolt Gigantha.
Mm-hmm.
Binding Bolt Gigantha.
All right, all right. Representing a good chunk of damage here. Did
Here's the
George take it?
binding.
Oh, George did take a damage from. I didn't note the damage taken. There we go.
George, look, we'll draw a single card here off this ring as it gets binded in response. And there's a Supreme Verdict. George
Shake his
has
head.
4, count it, 4 in their deck right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a hard card to deal with.
Yep.
No creature lands, I believe, in Ray's deck, so nothing that can get
No.
around that. We're just
Yeah.
playing stuff out and hoping it survives to get into
Mhm.
combat the turn after.
Magic the past year has gotten so powerful that I don't see creature lands anywhere.
I see him in standard.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've killed many people with that 4/4 shark. Don't get me wrong, but I am not seeing them. We're not even seeing Hall of the Storm Giants. None of them are floating around anymore.
Mm-mm. Hall, really? I
Because
feel
we
like
got to get this mana. We got to get these fetches. We get these Odawaras.
I guess
We have
so.
to
Yeah.
get these Surveil lands. Manamo. I think Manamo is the one that took the this isn't a land kind of spot.
Mm-hmm.
And Manamo Ring is well worth it.
And Manama comes in untapped as well, so
Mhm.
that's probably pretty helpful there. George down to 7 on this fetch.
Yeah.
This Gigantha in play here.
But I have a feeling this is to unlock a Solitude.
No, this Gigantha is crashing in. It's gonna be great. Nothing's gonna happen to her.
Will. Oh, yeah. Set up our mana even further. Cycle this. Get this island. We have 2 white sources still with our Roger and Chime and the Meticulous Archive.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a quick tap of our 3 mana. It's a Narset. Okay.
Parter avails herself. We'll
Oh,
see.
hunting for a binding?
All right.
Got a pending.
Seems good. Oh, Ray. Ray looking. Ray with his head
Yeah.
back in his hand.
Well, we already had the binding. Okay. That makes sense for a lot of these plays that we weren't relying on finding one. We already had it. Untap. Big rips.
Big rips.
I think we drew a stub. This is what I was talking about. This is surely not the time for it anymore.
No.
Nakatl. 3/3. Bolt. Take down the Narset.
Kill the Narset. I think that's solid, honestly. Don't need George having any more cards than you want.
Prismatic Ending takes it down. The one you saw them pick up off the Narset.
Right.
And
Got a Force Negation in his hand as well for George. Can't see quite what else he's got there.
Dash Dragoman.
Ooh.
Is that going to get through the defenses?
No.
And now the Solitude's in play, and George can very safely attack and start moving our life total upward.
Oh, man. This is the beginning of the end for Ray, unfortunately. This is where the control player becomes the aggressor.
And we saw pick up Kahira, but not pick up cast, which means we're very likely holding up counter magic. And we'll just cast it on this turn and just start pushing.
Mm-hmm. Give Solitude Vigilance as well, and some buff.
Yep, attack for 4 now. Get through, get that damage in, gain 4, -4, pass it back. 3 mana held up for whatever you're trying to play. Scion off these lands. Oh, off these lands.
Whichever, you can pick any of them, man.
Yep.
4/4 was looking good against this 3/2 Solitude until the Kahira came down.
Mm-hmm. And what's the likelihood? There's no answer. 0. Leyline Bindings here. Take down your Scion.
Doesn't he have a Stubborn Denial in hand?
Nope, we have a concession.
Oh
And our
boy.
number 3 on the leaderboard really need an undefeated week. Shout out to George locking in a pile of points and hopefully starting to rock it up. Take a quick peek here at our NRG Modern Weekly leaderboard. As you can see, there was Ray Ray in 5th place, getting the 3-1 points. Definitely going to be good. But George in 3rd, fighting to catch up to the Flex Slot boys at the tippy top, can truly use an undefeated week to help push themselves up.
Going 4-0 in the league grants you 13 points. So
Woo!
George will advance to 75 points, which, if Adam didn't show up, would still put him 2 points under first place. As it is, Adam did show up, went 2
2-2.
2, granting him 9 points. So Adam will maintain
Sheesh.
that number 1 spot on our leaderboard still. The man is hard to catch up with, even though George went undefeated tonight. Of course, both of these players are still in steady running for the money. Payout is to top 8, so lots of points still left to play. Lots of good magic. That is the end of our coverage for tonight. But if you'd like to stick around and hear what the store is all about, let me run through a quick couple of ads. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate you saying hi in chat. Let me pay out the prediction. I'm so sorry, Brickman. I got you, friend. Hold on. And then we'll do some ads. But like I said, we appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah, our players really rocketing up. Remember, this is the conclusion of week number 8. There are 12 total weeks. So these players are in kind of the home stretch. Now that they finish the 4th round, they have literally 4 more days, 16 more rounds to really try to push as hard as they can to get all the way to the top.
Absolutely. We do magic on this stream. We also do Pokemon, though, and we're running a fantastic event currently. We are raising money for the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Our Pokemon team is doing a money match against another team of Pokemon players. The NRG Pokemon team are
Pretty good, I've heard.
truly good at the game. We have at least one player currently going to Worlds in Hawaii this year, and a bunch of other people just cleaning up house at the regional events. So check us out on March 9th. We'll be raising money. We're raising money right now. In fact, if you'd like to donate right now in chat, you can do so. But the main fundraising event will be March 9th. If you like Pokemon and want to check out our weeklies, we stream Thursdays at 6:30. Let's take a look at our weekly schedule here so you can check out all the different games that we offer. Wednesday is Modern, Thursday is Commander and Pokemon, Friday is F&M with Standard and Legacy, as well as One Piece. Saturday is Digimon. Check us out for our Double Typhlosion pre-release event. I believe that's what it's called.
Okay, sick.
ST17 pre-release event that is capped, but usually we're able to squeeze a couple more in. So if you're still looking to get in, show up when doors open, and hopefully we can help you out there. Monday is Commander and Digimon again. Tuesday wraps up our schedule with Pioneer being replaced by Lorcana and our One Piece League. We offer 5 different games at the store, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can buy cards for all those different games. The best one is nerdragegaming.com and nrg.tcgplayerpro. We love to buy your cards. We'd love to sell you cards. We ship countrywide. You can pick up in-store or at any of the NRG series events. Speaking of, our next one is in Minneapolis on 420. We got a 10K Modern Showdown, the winner of which automatically qualifies for the championship event at the end of the year. The winner of that qualifies for the Pro Tour. And for all you lovely boomers out there, we have a legacy trial for you as well. Come check us out in Minneapolis. Here's the rest of our schedule for this first half of the year. We are in Indianapolis in May, St. Louis in June. We'd love to see you there. With that being said, that wraps up coverage for tonight. It's been such a pleasure to have you around. Dom, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good night, folks.
Toodles.